8 months ago, the regular season started in MLS. For Portland, it was 8 months and 5 days ago. For NYCFC, it will be 8 months in 5 days. Here we are now on December 11th, 2021, and we have the next MLS Cup final. As the upstart New York City Football Club, and yes, I'm saying upstart because nobody thought that New York City in any facet or form could be a Cinderella team, taking on the Portland Timbers in their first ever MLS Cup. This is going to be a very fascinating matchup right now. I will probably have other people be coming on shortly when it comes to comments, thoughts, ideas, everything like that. As always, you can find us on Streampunk Sports on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, and also on Twitch at Streampunk Sports, and of course on Twitter at Streampunk Sport. This game is currently being broadcast in 132 different countries around the world. And I should clarify that this game is currently being broadcast in 131 different countries around the world. Unless you're in the United States, where here on ABC, the game is currently being preempted by women's college basketball. Not to diss UConn and UCLA in this particular case, no respect there. But this is, in my mind, a bit of a missed opportunity to broadcast soccer in the United States when you're running long with the game prior to it. Anyway, moving forward in this particular case, we're dealing with two teams right now that have both had very, very similar scoring as far as everything goes. Within this case, they have 56 points for the regular season between them. Both teams ended up in fourth place overall. And in the case of NYCFC, a team that I have covered pretty much since day one this season, it is a little bit of an interesting storyline. Nobody expected NYCFC to get where they are. Nobody expected this team to be able to pull out wins in the playoffs when it came to beating New England and to some degree even Philadelphia last week to get to the playoffs. Prior to this season, only once in their history have they ever advanced past the first round of the playoffs, so everything after Atlanta was brand new territory. For Portland, they have been down this road before. This is a team that has won the finals before. They are hosting at home today. And with a head coach in Giovanni Savarese, they have experience here in the finals. This is not a new experience for them. This is 100% a brand new experience for NYCFC. For you guys, let me know your thoughts, your comments, your ideas, anything that you guys have out there. I'm interested to hear from you about what you think is going to happen today, because here we are at Streampunk Sports, talking entertainment, talking pop culture, and talking with you. Right now, this current basketball game has 30.2 seconds left. They're at a TV timeout. They may very well actually miss the start of the MLS final for this game. I don't think right now this game is actually being broadcast anywhere. Maybe Hulu, I'm not sure, but that's only if you happen to have Hulu. Right now, I'm not sure where the blazes this game is going to be. Looking at ESPN, I don't think so. It's college basketball. ESPN2 is definitely college basketball. So we, and basically the soccer fans of the world, may be forced to have to just wait until this basketball game is over before we can actually watch the finals. ABC, good job. You guys screwed up royally. I'm going to throw it right out there. You had an opportunity. You missed it. You blew it. And you know what? A lot of people are going to bitch for it, and you deserve it. Figure out a better way to do this stuff going forward. Anyway, continuing on right now. This is going to be a soccer game. Like I said, it's amazing with this particular thing that you have two teams that spent 8 months in a regular season. First with Portland end up actually winning their first game April 6th against Merit. Actually, correction, April 13th, winning 5 Providence Park in the Olympico. And then finally on April 18th, on the road, they lost 1-0 to Vancouver at Rio Tinto Stadium, whereas NYCFC lost their first game April 17th at Audi Field against Washington, D.C. 8 months. If you think about how long a regular season is when it comes to football and basketball, this right now is, by the way, yes, it's supposed to be pretty freaking close to 3 o'clock, maybe a couple minutes afterwards. So right now, if you actually, Obi, I'm not sure if you heard, I'm on a little bit of a rant right now because the UCLA UConn game is running overtime. So even though this game is being broadcast literally in 132 different countries around the world, in the U.S., it's not being broadcast yet. So they're missing a grand opportunity to be able to actually broadcast this game and be able to show what soccer means to the rest of the world. I don't blame UConn. I don't blame UCLA. I don't blame them in any regard here. This is something that for them, it's a game that ran long. This kind of stuff happens, but another freaking penalty, another freaking foul. This, like I said, this is agitating me a little bit here. If it had something on the screen right now where it says, okay, this is on ESPN2, this is on something else, something that we can go to, I would love that. But right now, this game is now running slow because UCLA is taking foul after foul after foul, and it only drops down a second to 2 seconds for every 2 minutes of time. They're sneaking commercial breaks in between these fouls. So right now we have an MLS final that's actually, I don't even know what the hell's going on with it because there's no game going on right now. We can't see a damn thing. So good job, ABC, you schmucks. I'm throwing that right out there. You want to come at me, come at me. Stream Punk Sports and on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch and the rest of it. You know, if you want to bitch at us, go right ahead and bitch at us for it. This is me being bitchy right now, as you can tell. Lucky Undead 17. Yeah, I do agree with this right now. Kind of irks me because when you think about what soccer means to the rest of the world, that issue's not happening. Here it is. And like I said, that's the problem right now. I don't know where else this game can actually be able to be watched. There have been rumors of certain places, you know, online. Maybe if you look up Twitter, there might be a couple of spots that might have it as well. I am personally not going to go down that road. I am going to try just for kicks right now to see if maybe now that we're at 3:08, 10 minutes after the broadcast for the soccer game is supposed to have started, and by the way, still 28 seconds left, if there's something maybe on Hulu right now that can actually be able to get me this game. But this is a massive muck-up when it comes to ABC. You know what? In the meantime, let me look at some of the comments on Twitter, because I'm sure Twitter's got a few things to say in this regard. Let's see, Hulu. Let's see, what is the MLS Cup? Let's look up on Twitter right now. What do you guys have to say? All right, my kickoff is actually 3:23, so it's not as bad on this case. But yeah, basically one of the comments here: MLS Cup's on the back burner for 30-second foul fest in women's college basketball. I support women's hoops, but this is why nobody takes soccer seriously. This is their Super Bowl, and it can't even get on TV. ABC News switched to MLS Cup, NYCFC. That's another one. You know, trying to get my annual tradition thanks to watching MLS Cup, but currently getting preempted by regular season college basketball. Am I missing something? This is seriously disrespectful and not a great sign for MLS's ability to get more out of a new TV deal. This is Twitter right now. This is the fan base that right now ABC is pissing off because that game is going long. I don't think there's any other way that we can really watch this right now. So, okay, it's on TUDN. Okay, that's actually good to know. If I'm on Spanish. Here's the weird thing about TUDN. I have had to watch NYCFC on that sometimes, and I have actually, in a weird way, I one time watched it because the only way to watch NYCFC was to watch it on the Spanish network. However, if you switch it over to the French SAP, it was broadcast in English. It was the game that they had against Miami like a month and a half ago. So absolutely, go figure. Be damned if I know why. I just got a text from my buddy Tom. He's like, you know, damn freaking college basketball right now. Because, again, I don't blame college basketball. I don't blame UConn. I don't blame UCLA. The game runs long. They got to win. That's on them. That's their job to win that game. It is ABC's job, though, as someone on Twitter just pointed out, that this is the Stanley Cup of MLS soccer. This is being broadcast, like I said, in 132 different countries around the world on networks I have never even heard of. And right now, this game has 22.7 seconds left, and it's 10 minutes into the MLS final broadcast. You know, this is a unbridled free throw fest. It's all I'm literally watching right now. Yeah, okay. You know, he disagrees. Obi, that's fine. I don't, you know, whatever. You know, I as NWNC no kickoff, nothing but pregame being missed. However, here's the problem with this. You are not getting people to generate interest in soccer. You know, you have a lot of soccer fans in this country right now that are agitated because it's, you know, women's college basketball. This is what ABC is trying to push. I understand that. But here we are with another foul, and it's 15.6 seconds left. This is this is a poor job by ABC to get a game like this going. You know, as far as NYCFC goes, this is a big, big game for them. They have never been in the finals. They have never been past the second round before. And for all the fans here, it's frustrating as well. Okay, regardless of no kickoff, there's still pregame analysis. Let me put this up here. There's still pregame analysis people tune into to get more excited for the game to actually start. This is like I said, what I'm talking about. You know, I have had this game on since 2:30 in the afternoon, watching it drop down. When it was 2:30 in the afternoon, it was under 7 minutes left in the game, and that was 41 minutes ago. So this is, like I said, you're looking at people that are agitated because they're missing out on a game that they want to watch. There's no mention anywhere. And like I said, if the games run long, and TNT and TBS, they do this with MLB playoffs. If one game runs long, they make an announcement, BT Dubs, this game is going to be starting on this network again over here. ABC is not doing that right now. ABC is not saying you can watch this game somewhere else. I have not seen any blip down at the bottom to say you can catch it here until this game is over. I think if they did that right now, the fans would be fine. The fans would be 100% fine. I don't care. I will bounce all over, all up and down the dial if I have to get to this. But now it is 4.6 seconds left. UCLA, I don't know how many fouls they've had in the last 5 minutes, but this in theory should do it. As I'm getting some random call from Bangor, Maine. I'm not sure who that is, but I'm going to let that sit for a while. Right now, it is UConn 70, UCLA 61, 4.6 seconds left. And now it's 71-61. This, in theory, should do it. No disrespect to Ryan Rucco. I hope basically your post-game of this game is short. There's the shot. It's missed, and this game is now over. So as a result, so will my little tiny rant about the MLS Cup starting 12 to 13 minutes late as far as the broadcast goes. Again, congratulations in this case to UConn. They do go to 6-2. UCLA falls to 5-3. All in all, that was a good game, though, as far as college basketball goes. But it's not why I'm here, and it's not why I'm doing this live stream. This is going to be a very interesting start of basically as far as the broadcast goes on Twitch. Find us, as always, like I said, you can find us on Twitch, on Instagram, on Facebook, and also on YouTube at Song Sports. Any thoughts, comments, ideas, compliments, complaints, whatever you want to do, let me know in the chat. Are you guys pulling for anybody specific here? Are you looking to NYCFC to continue their dream season, or are you expecting Portland to continue? In my case, like I said, I have covered NYCFC since the beginning of the season. I have been to pretty much every home game that they have had, and I have very, very rarely missed any of the road games. So I have been with this team the entire run. I have seen, pretty much every post game, every pregame. I've met with these guys socially. I've met with these guys professionally. I will talk a little bit during this game about what it's like to cover these games and what it's like firsthand experience to be able to be involved with it. Because you know what? It's really, really cool. Let's see. Max Zombie, what do you got? Been supporting NYCFC ever since they've been established. So this is about to be the best game ever. Yeah, for you, you have suffered through this. Last year, I knew about last year's loss. I followed it just as a regular sports guy, but I didn't start covering NYCFC till this year. So after that loss to Orlando, where they lost in the shootout, and this is where I'm curious to get some of your thoughts here. When there was the shootout against New England, did you have deja vu about last year, or did you guys actually think things are going to be a little bit different this time around? I saw that. I remember that first game. It was against Cincinnati. They piled on 5 goals at home. Now, one of the big keys I want to talk about with this game, and this is no surprise to any NYCFC fan. I'm going to give you guys some statistics, but the emergence and the importance of Tati Castellanos. This is honestly elementary MLS soccer here when I'm talking about this. Castellanos had 19 goals on the season, wins the Golden Boot, but more important than that, during the season, when Tati Castellanos scores 1 goal, that team is 12-2-3. When he doesn't, they're, I believe, 5-8-5. So right now, the difference maker is a Tati Castellanos who was not in the lineup last week against Philadelphia, being suspended, which made that game last week all that much closer. Last week it was a battle of honestly 2 teams that were missing a lot of key elements. NYCFC was missing Tati. They were missing Keaton Parks. They were missing Anton Tinnerholm to injury. And on the other side, obviously, most of you guys know this, Philadelphia was just crushed with players being out due to COVID. As a result, 2 different teams that were missing a lot of key players. And it's funny, I was on the Reddit page for both NYCFC and also on Philadelphia. Philadelphia did not want to hear my beliefs of why I thought they were going to be able to win that game, and they had the potential to think the potential to win. I got trashed. I was told to go kill myself, by the way, on the Philadelphia Union Reddit page, because I actually explained in logical detail why Philadelphia could win that game because Tati wasn't in the lineup. So Philly fans, I admire your passion. Try not to go actually, talk about people getting, having suicide. Let's see. What do we got here? I generally thought it was going to be completely different. At the time, I've learned that we pretty much learned from our mistakes. Tati needs to pull up, show up today, and pretty much meet all the lads put on a show tonight. We deserve it. Yeah. Okay. Now at this point, ABC has officially gone over to Providence Park It is sponsored by Heineken. Very cool. I will be, as always, continuing the stats, basically talking about all the stuff that's here. Right now, if you want to know what the starting lineup looks like, Clark is, of course, in goal. Both teams are doing a 4-2-3-1 lineup. Mora is up front. Interestingly enough, he doesn't say Felipe Lopez. He's not starting, but this is a team that, as an MLS team, Portland, if you're going to beat Portland, the biggest key to it is you need to strike first, strike hard, no mercy. I'm rewatching Cobra Kai as we're getting ready for season 4. What's important here, and I went back and I looked at every single Portland loss that was a bad loss. 3-0, 4-0, 6-1, those kind of games. Every single one of them, the opponent struck first early and just piled on. It seems to be something with Portland where if they fall behind early, they start to panic a little bit to try and catch back up again. That is going to be the massive, massive key when it comes to NYCFC, if they're going to be able to pull out this upset win. And I'm calling it an upset win because nobody expected this team to get this far. I wasn't even sure. I had a weird feeling, and I remember talking to James Sands of NYCFC during one of the press conferences that it was after the Atlanta game. I remember asking him, I'm like, and when you're playing New England is going to be off for 23 days. Do you think that's going to have an advantage? And he's like, I don't want to say outright, but yes, it's possible, because when you have that long of a layoff, you can be very, very sluggish as a team. When they played NYCFC, when NYCFC played against New England was sluggish throughout that entire game, and a 3-week off layoff, I think, was the big reason for it. If they didn't have that bye, if they didn't have that long, if they had 2 weeks, I think New England would have won that game. But instead, New York pulled it out in a shootout, and to their credit, moved on. That was a stunned as heck New England crowd, as we're looking at the weather right now in Portland, and it's rain. So that's going to probably muddy things down, slow down the pace of play a little bit. Not the really kind of weather that you really want to have for an MLS Cup final, but it is what it is. So you just move on and make the best of it all the way through. As far as Portland goes, again, their goal differential is actually only 4 on the season, which is interesting when you compare it to what NYCFC has, which is a literal 20 goal differential, which is one of the best in the league. When you look at a team like Portland, Portland's strength is its diversity and its ability to score goals. They've got multiple 10 or more goal scorers. They've got, I think, 13 or 14 different players on the team that have scored a goal all season. So that threat can come from a lot of different sources. With NYCFC, it's pretty simple. Tati will make it or break it for this team. He has a good game. NYCFC walks away with the cup. If Portland is able to neutralize Tati Castellanos, Portland should, in all likelihood, win. I watched something. There's a YouTuber by the name of Son of a Pitch podcast who did, as a joke, one of the FIFA 2021 games as a simulation on this. That final on that was a 9-7 final on his simulation. We both agree that there's no way in hell there's going to be 16 goals scored. This, I'm saying, will probably be a 3-2 final. Which way, I don't know. But you got Sean Clark, you got Sean Johnson. You got 2 solid goalies in there. Clark was a cast-off who was considered to be not really good enough for Europe, but has done extremely well with Portland. That Portland fan base is out in droves. They don't care about the weather right now. They don't care what's cold out there. Right now for NYCFC, Tavon Gray is getting the start alongside Chanel Callens and Goody Tararensen. Up front, we got Sands, Morales, Medina, also Maxi Morales, and also Rodriguez. And then, of course, on the 4-2-3-1 front, Tati Castellanos. Castellanos is the key to being able to make sure that NYCFC is able to pull away a win, because at 19 goals, he has more than twice as many goals as the number 2 guy in this case, Jesus Medina. Additionally, with Jesus Medina, he had 5 goals in the first about 2 months of the season, and then after that, slowed down. If you guys have any questions, any thoughts, any beliefs, or anything you guys want to go into, let me know in the comments. I'm definitely down for that. I know I'm babbling a little bit right now because we are just about to get underway. The weather over there, like I said, in Portland is, well, cold, rainy, in December. So it's kind of what you expect from Portland. It's 47 degrees and rain, wind 21 miles an hour. That could affect things. The weather in Portland is supposed to be rain pretty much the entire day and mid-40s. That may cause some level of cramping. If you You guys remember what happened with New England? There was a lot of cramping early, later on in the game. Tavon Gray, who's going to be starting here, also had some cramps. Maybe part of the reason he's starting first right now, not just because of his play, but also because of the fact that he did get cramps later on in the game. And you want to try and be able to protect against that because New England did score a goal late and force the overtime and ultimately force the shootout. The key for NYCFC additionally is Sean Johnson. Can he be able to continue to provide the kind of goaltending to keep this team in it? That goal that happened against Philadelphia the other day, that was an own goal, which honestly probably could have been avoided, but his own player, I think it was Alexander Callens, bounced into Sean Johnson and ended up actually scoring the goal. Philadelphia didn't care. The Union will take whatever goal they can get, as would any team. I will say this, and this is for more of the international fans. Actually, just let me look at the chat real quick. Hey, Oliver John, how we doing, mon ami? How you doing, bud? You doing good? When are they playing? Probably in about a minute and a half. That kickoff's going to happen. Officially, 3:23 is supposed to be the start time for this, and we are sitting at 3:22. So literally at any moment. After that, ABC will pretty much, for the most part, not be able to have any more commercials. One of the big benefits of soccer is there's no real commercial breaks. Maybe just a commercial, on the side, during an injury or whatever the case is. But you ain't going to be getting 2-minute, 3-minute long commercials. Benefit to soccer. And I don't remember what the hell I was just talking about. So if you guys happen to remember, let me know. But Sean Johnson is, that Philly. Oh, yeah, I remember what I was going to say. One of the things that I found when I was covering the NYCFC game against Philadelphia, no problem, dude. Anytime. Glad to help. When I was, I'll say this, there was a glitch when it came to covering NYCFC last week. So I get down to the Philadelphia Union, and they usually have a press box, and press boxes are nice. They're a cozy setup, and they're like, we had an overflow situation. We apologize for this. We can't put you in the press box. Are you okay going into one of the executive booths? So for me, I happened to be in the executive booth for the Philadelphia Union and had to spend the entire game covering the game from that location inside, not just the press box, but the booth itself. I personally was in love with that location. It couldn't have gotten much better. And I'm a really lucky dude. I think about everything that I've dealt with in my life, and to be able to be in a press box like that, to be able to look at what I was able to be part of, it was amazing, and I was so grateful for that. I was so grateful to the Philadelphia fans. They knew that I was writing for NYCFC. They knew I was covering the enemy in this case, and they were remarkably kind to me. Those guys were so cool. They're like, okay, I think one of them was like, I mean this with respect, but I hope you go home sad. And I'm like, okay, I can buy that a little bit. But the absolute energy in the Philadelphia Union Stadium in Subaru Park in Chester crushes what NYCFC brings to the table. They're bringing the MLS Cup out right now. It is currently being held by two men with carrying white gloves, much like the Stanley Cup. No fingerprints on it, treated with reverence, treated with respect. And that cup is going to be there, proud, prominent. And you know what? We got a good match ahead of us. But NYCFC, having covered a lot of those games at Yankee Stadium and also admittedly at Red Bull Arena, which I have news about that for NYCFC sufferers that way. The other stadiums know how to treat soccer better. And I think maybe part of it is the fact that New York City has so many teams that NYCFC, even though they're in the finals, gets swallowed up by everything Giants, Jets, Rangers, Islanders, Devils, Yankees, Mets, and Knicks and Nets. So you have all of these teams, and BT Dubs, the soccer team. In Portland, you got the Blazers, you got the Oregon Ducks, and of course you got, the Timbers. In Philadelphia, you've got one soccer, one football, one baseball, and one hockey team, and of course the Union as well. In New York, you have so many teams that it gets lost and swallowed up by comparison. It's a disappointing situation. That's why it's funny when I was covering the Atlanta game in the playoffs. This was something that, again, that game was being broadcast on 78 different countries. Great chance for MLS and specifically NYCFC, who is 20% owned by the Yankees, by the way, to be able to make a statement and show off themselves and impress a worldwide stage. Everything on Twitter was, that pitch sucks. That field was garbage. We hate that. Why are they dealing with it? The reason being because in the Bronx, there's no space for anything else, and there's no easy access in New York City to anything outside of subways. So to be able to find space, pay for space, it's not going to happen. NYCFC is Sean Johnson's coming in, and there's Callens, there's James Sands, and the rest of the entourage, they're starting to take the field now. Officiating is as well, and we are pretty damn close to underway. Philadelphia, that was a passionate, fired up crowd. When that goal was scored, I literally felt the floor shaking in my booth. And I thought that was such a crazy, amazing experience to be able to feel that kind of passion, energy, and excitement that way. Stream. Let me show you a picture of that. So, what was I saying? Because I can't pull it up. Bollocks. All right. Anyway, I'll pull it up later if I get the chance to. But we are now 5 minutes and 25 seconds left to go before we got kickoff. I do not know right now which team is actually going to be getting the ball first. Typically speaking, when it comes to NYCFC, earlier on in the season, they took one knee during the national anthem. Later on, they just locked arms. I don't know which one in this case they're going to be doing. As Tati Castellanos trying to raise the NYCFC crowd that's there. Rainy. It's a miserable day out there. It reminds me a little bit, by the way, of when they had the first Hudson River Derby this year, when NYCFC was supposed to play the Red Bulls in the middle of a hurricane. I was actually in Maine, so I only watched this from afar, never had to deal with it. But the pitch was so badly flooded that there were puddles when they finally decided that they were not going to start the game. They had a 3-hour delay in the middle of a hurricane they're going to get this game underway. By 10:30 at night, they finally decided, you know what? We can't do it. It's not going to happen. Sorry. I knew people that took 90 minutes. I knew a guy that to get back to Manhattan with a truck took 90. I heard stories of people that were not able to get back to New York City 3 p.m. the next day. And that's sort of the problem that happens with soccer in this country, that you have these games that there's no way to get back. And this is part of the problem that NYCFC has immensely right now. I attended probably 4 maybe games covering NYCFC, but covering them at Red Bull Arena. If you talk to Ian Joy, who's the color commentator on the Yes Network for NYCFC, he's livid about it. You know, you cannot play a game repeatedly in your opposing stadium. And when I would go to games at NYCFC, they typically pull in 12,000 fans at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. When these games were being broadcast at Red Bull Arena and played at Red Bull Arena, I would see attendance under 3,000. You know, you can't have a soccer team that is 20% owned by the New York Yankees pulling in those kind of numbers. Now, rumor has it, and I keep hearing this and I want to get verification on it, that for the NYCFC fans that are struggling with this whole Red Bull Arena situation, that next year Yankee Stadium will be the primary spot, especially during the lockout. If the MLB lockout happens, problem solved right there. Number 1, Yankee Stadium. Number 2, if Yankee Stadium is not available, supposedly the second choice for NYCFC to play will be Citi Field this year. After that, then they're going to go to Red Bull Arena. No, they are just about to start. They are about 2 minutes away at this point, I think. Any second now, they're probably doing the national anthem or finishing that up. So as soon as they come out of this last commercial break for, I guess, the Brooklyn Nets, we will be getting underway. Again, if you got any predictions, any thoughts, what you guys think is going to happen today, let me know in the comments. Again, I'm thinking this is going to be a 3-2 final. My analytical side of this, personally, I think the Portland Timbers are going to win this game. You know, I am an NYCFC fan. I have covered that team. I have written that team. I have been there through all of it. You know, when they had the good starts, when they had those games where they were crushing it, winning 5-0. I was there for the 6-0 final. I remember talking to head coach Ronnie Diala afterwards and about the experience of actually setting a new NYCFC record. He was unaware. There's a lot of things that, you know, it's funny that press people and news people tell these guys something and they're like, oh, shit, I didn't know that. But I was there through that. I was there through the 509-minute goal drought. Press conferences, for the record, are a hell of a lot easier to do when your team wins versus when you've had 4 straight shutouts, because you run out of things you can say. I remember when Goody Thorarson scored the tying goal against Atlanta that broke the 509-minute streak, and they finally got a goal on the board and got that tie in Atlanta. I ended up actually being the first question in the post-game press conference, and I asked head coach Ronnie Dyla, I said, sometimes you need that one goal to just get you over the hump and start to be able to basically get the ice out of the vein, out of your system, and be able to start scoring goals again. Do you think this is the start of something big? And his exact quote, and I'm quoting here, God, I hope so. And next game, they scored 6. So, and they have been on an unbeaten streak ever since that Atlanta game that has brought them now to a rainy Portland at 12:30 Pacific time in, frankly, miserable, uncomfortable conditions. 3:32, so they're still not starting yet. This is starting a little later than planned. Possibly it's the ABC thing. I'm not sure if that's the reason why. This game is starting late because it was supposed to be 3:23, broadcast at 3. And then, of course, like I said, the college basketball game went long. So be it. It's over. My rant on that is over at this point. Portland is a passionate fan base. They are excited. Giovanni Savarese has done really well with this team. Lopez, Clark, everybody in this case has done really well. This is their second MLS Cup appearance. They lost in 2018. So they have experience here, and again, they're playing in front of a home crowd. Ironically, the weird twist is had they lost that last game and Real Salt Lake had won, I wouldn't be doing this broadcast. I would be basically over at Yankee Stadium. I'd be watching the game from over there. Yankee Stadium press box is nice. The pitch is not a great soccer pitch. I get it because it's baseball field converted, but it's a nice setup. Yankee Stadium, the buffet at Yankee Stadium is better than the rest of them, I got to say. But it's a nice setup. It's quiet. It's peaceful. You can pick up a lot of noise, but you don't get a lot of noise from like anything outside of Yankee Stadium going on. The reason I say that is because the last time I was there, someone inside Yankee Stadium actually got shot. There was a bullet that supposedly rebounded and landed off some guy's hand. When we left, I remember seeing a whole bunch of cops outside Yankee Stadium. Like, all right, some kind of police activity somewhere in the Bronx. Welcome to New York. And no, it actually was police activity inside Yankee Stadium as that dude friggin' got shot. So that's New York City being New York City for you. This is Ronnie Dyla's second season as head coach of the team. Tati Castellanos. Sean Johnson is the captain of the team and also the starting goaltender. Cool dude, too. He's a dude I'd love to be able to just chill and have a drink with. My goal, by the way, for the offseason is to start having some of those guys on here. Maybe throw a couple of bucks towards a charity to make it worth their time if I have to, but have them break down European soccer a little bit. With Sean Johnson, he's been called up to nationals a few times. James Sands has been called up to nationals a couple of times. And these guys have an experience when it comes to the worldwide level that benefits them here and also helps them understand what Europe has to offer. With Tati's season that he had, Tati Castellanos, there has been talk that he might be going over to Europe sometime, maybe next year. NYCFC just signed a contract long-term with Tati to be able to keep him here. So who knows what the futures are going to hold there. But Ronnie Dyla has gone on record by saying that if, NYCFC is going to try like hell to keep him, just like Europe is going to try like hell to hold him. Here we are at this point. We are moments away from getting underway. There is your NYCFC starting lineup. Pretty soon I will be switching over to the score itself. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know your comments. Let me know where we stand because I'm interested to hear your thoughts as we're covering the biggest soccer game in the U.S. and a game that is being broadcast in 132 different countries around the world. And that is huge, huge for MLS soccer. I have made the prediction on some of the other shows that I have, the Sports Den, and some of the other ones that I personally believe that in the next 5 to 10 years, soccer will overtake baseball. It's a bold prediction, but soccer will overtake baseball as a more popular sport as this sport continues to become more international in a more international world, as baseball is continuing to lose popularity and frankly doesn't have, I think, the action and the intensity to keep people entertained in 2021 like it used to. We are officially underway. Portland has just gotten the ball. They're starting things off. Just some short passes around the middle right now. Kick back into the box. And back to Sean Clark immediately, who takes it down to midfield. And first headbutt. And now at this point, NYCFC has possession. and may get a shot on goal. Maxey with a shot, and it's an immediate save by Sean Clark. He had to actually, and it wasn't a tough save. It was actually fairly easy for him, but it was a quick save by Clark, only basically 30 seconds into this game. That's the way NYCFC, like I said early on, has to be able to make things happen. Because if they're going to be able to win this game, they're going to have to be able to they're going to have to strike first. They're going to have to strike hard. Steve Clark, sorry, my bad. Kept calling him Sean, my bad. Sorry about that. In the games that Portland has lost and lost badly, the opposing team scored first, quickly, and often. Games where they would score in the first 5 to 7 minutes, first 10 minutes. They'd have 2 goals scored by 23 minutes in. This is how NYCFC is going to have to win this game and put Portland on their heels. If Portland is able to actually get a chance to get their feet organized right now as they kick the ball out of bounds, and Medina hands the ball off. We've got Tavon Gray throwing it in at 1 minute and 19 seconds. If NYCFC cannot strike first on this, this is giving a Portland team a chance to get their feet and is going to increasingly give them a chance to be able to win this game. Okay, so right now, pass over the middle, over to Tati. Tati's got it. Let's see. We're going to go to stats, I think, in this case. And they're calling that a handball. Ball's out of bounds. Who are they calling it on? Calling it looks like a Medina and the throw-in. And it's back out of bounds again. Ronnie Dyla has, by the way, gone on record to say that oh, hey, we can do it that way. Nice. Ronnie Dyla has gone on record to say that if NYCFC does win, he is taking off his shirt and running shirtless through the stadium, which he said would be a small price to I probably will not be able to do that particular post-game conference because on the national level, it's run a little bit differently than it is on the local level. On the local level, they just set up a Zoom call. And if you've ever watched any of the post-game for like NYCFC or Portland, you get those voices in the side. I'm one of those voices. I like the way that they have the setup now. They got the 3 players there. They had the people that are local first. And then if they give time, they give some time to the Zoom call people. But for a game like this, I probably will not be able to ask too many, if any, questions. Tavon Gray just slipped at the 241 mark. So I have to wonder how that pitch is right now with the rain coming down and expected to be down the entire game. Good ball control right now by NYCFC. Nothing's happening right now. Trying to break open and turnover. Portland's got the ball, kicking the ball back and towards midfield at this point. And cross midfield, but it's a turnover back to New York. And I guess there's a free kick or something happening right about now. But let me know, like I said, your thoughts, your comments, who you think is going to win this game. Portland Timbers right now. Yeah, there's the record. Portland Timbers on Giovanni Savarese, 31-1-5 when they score first. That's what I said. I just finished saying that if NYCFC is going to have a shot, they have to strike first and strike quickly. Right now the ball is getting into the New York zone. Turnover. Okay, so nothing's happening there. Like I said, honestly, my heart is with NYCFC. I followed that team throughout the entire season. I have been there through the warm games. I've been there through the ridiculously cold games, the highs and the lows. So I've been there loyalty with them, even though I'm supposed to be neutral as a writer. But my feeling is I would be surprised if they won. I got a weird feeling in my gut that they're not going to win, but I'm okay being wrong. When they played against New England, I had a weird feeling in my gut that they would be able to pull that off. That 23-day layoff that New England had was a big reason for it. Philadelphia, I figured that was a crapshoot. Roster. Philadelphia with an absolutely depleted roster last week, which is the big reason why they lost. If they didn't have COVID, there is no way in heck Philadelphia would have lost that game with NC not having Tati in the lineup. Not to mention, in this case, Keaton Parks and Anton Tinnerholm being out of the lineup for the rest of the season. I remember talking to Anton right after it happened, met him in the elevator. Distraught, I think, is a good word to describe what Anton was feeling there. But the team has really rallied together. He has stayed with them all the way through. And I hear both sides, and especially the New York side, because this is new territory, I hear NYCFC constantly using the word family. They talk about being together through all of this against the odds and against, frankly, just teams that I think earlier on in the season, when they started having the losses and everything like that, it started to really take an emotional, psychological toll on them. And I'm excited for these guys. Ball's kicked back to Sean Johnson, who just passes it over. 5.5 minutes into Chanel. And the ball's kicked out of bounds. Gray wasn't able to pick it up in time, so we got a throw in by Portland. I think that was James Sands that kicked that out of bounds. That weather looks just freaking terrible. It's 43 degrees out, rain. It's miserable. It's a December. It's a fall December day, and boy, that sucks, man. Like I said, I've been covering this team through the cold and the warm. The warm is so much better. Watching these games, whether it's like July, August, Portland's pissed off. Basically, the officiating's already getting involved now. Aspro looks like he's down, but he looks like he's in pain. They're probably going to bring the medics out at this point. What happened? Inadvertent kick to the calf. So, but they might. Are they getting awarded a free kick? Does not look like it. It was an accidental kick, I think, but still. But no, they were getting the free kick. Okay. All right. The free kick is this is a great chance for Portland to be able to take the lead here if they kick this thing right. Chip shot inside the box and headed out, so it's not a problem. 7 minutes. Portland has just kicked the ball out of bounds, so it still maintains their possession because it bounced off of. Might have bounced off Trayvon Gray. Right now, no score. One shot on target, which actually happened in the first 30 seconds. But other than that, it's been a little slow for the first 6.5 minutes aside from that. Both teams are trying to get their feet wet right now, which I didn't mean that. Let me rephrase that. With the wet grass, they're trying to get things or get their feet organized there. Medina over the middle. We're just across midfield. There may be a trip. Yep. NYCFC is trying to ask for a yellow card there as Totti is down. I don't think there's no way in hell they're getting a yellow card on that. But yeah, that was a trip. They'll get a free kick if nothing else. But again, if the key to this is to get Totti out of the lineup, Totti, if Portland can neutralize Totti, Portland will end up winning this game, no doubt. 7:46, 7:47, and here we are back underway. I've been doing a lot of talking today, I think. Usually when I do these broadcasts, I have 2 to 3 to 4 people doing it, and usually there's time in between plays. With soccer, the funny thing is, like I said, this game does not actually have any real breaks of any sort, so the ramblings of me will be carrying with you for the next hour and a half. Like it or hate it, basically as long as you're here, you're going to hear the melodious sound of my voice. Another stoppage in plays, throw in for Portland right now, deep in their own end zone, right in their own end. Sorry, I used to cover football there. Header. All right. Morales sends it airborne, and that ball stays in bounds. Okay. Neither team is really giving any possession. Neither team can really get control. And Totti or Medina, I think, just slipped on the field. Pass over the middle, pass there, and kick out of play, and that may be. Totti was able to knock it out, but bounce it off Mabiala. So they got I think it's the first corner kick of the game now. Good pass over the middle. It was a good attempt. Like I said, the job is to basically get the ball to Totti and let him do what he's got to do. Their record, like I mentioned, when Totti scores a goal, that team is 12-2-3 on the season. When he doesn't, it's noticeably lower. I think like 5-8-6 or 5-8-5, including last week. So there is a marked difference when it comes to that team and what he brings to the lineup. What his future means with NYCFC, it's anybody's guess. Corner kick is in, and it is back out of bounds again. Okay, so it looks like we're going to be doing a second corner kick in as many seconds here. So we are talking about the MLS Cup right now. We're in the finals. Portland Timbers hosting the NYCFC, the New York City Football Club, in their first ever final. First time ever actually getting past the second round, too, which is a new experience. Kick over the middle. And are they calling it another corner kick, or is that a goal kick? All right, showing the replay. Shot over the middle. And I don't think it hit any New York player there. I think it looks like it's going to be a goal kick. Yep, it's a goal kick. Clark's lining up at 10-14 right now. Drives it deep down the sideline and stays in bounds, but it's turned over. NYCFC is getting possession again. Ball bounced off the referee. And he kicked out of bounds, and Portland recovers. Portland has the throw in at this point, 10:41. So far, like I said, it's been a little bit slow on the shots. 2-0 and then 1-0 as far as shots on target in favor of New York. So New York has started to actually have greater possession throughout. 2 fouls to 1, no yellow cards, no offsides. That should actually show 2 corners right there. Google has not updated that as yet. Good pass over the middle. Tati cross over to Tavon Gray, who's now got a little space to work with right outside the box. And he's tripped, and another trip out of bounds. What are they calling it? They call it free kick inside. I think they're calling it a free kick there. That's good. This is NYCFC doing what they exactly need to do. Neutralize the offense. It was a great pass over to Tavon Gray. Trip, and then down goes Morales with a trip as well. And we got ourselves another free kick at this point. Goal kick out. And so far, be a punt back down the sideline. So NYCFC is controlling the pace of play well, and Clark has to come all the way out of the box to be able to actually field that, or else it would have been a breakaway for Tati. And another stoppage in play. Damn, a lot of stopping. This game is going to have a lot of added minutes by the end of the first half by this pace here. Yeah. But like I said, this is the MLS final. So for any of you guys outside the U.S., again, this game is being broadcast in 132 different countries. Credit to MLS for being able to make this an international sport, especially down in Brazil. With NYCFC having Gray and Santiago and Thiago, there's a lot of Brazilian import there. Tavon Gray it's funny. Tavon Gray is a strong kid from the Bronx, but he doesn't talk much during interviews. You ask him a question, he gives you like a 1-sentence answer. I think he's a nice kid, but I don't think he's used to actually doing interviews yet. Some of the other ones like Sands and Sean Johnson, especially, or Tati, those guys can talk for like a week and a half. But some of the other players, they're not good. Like Tavon, he's a young kid. Who was I going to say? Damn it, I just drew a blank. Tyler's Magno. You can tell the kid's having fun. He scored, like I said, he scored that game-winning goal against Philadelphia, but he's still very, very new when it comes to, soccer in the U.S. and, for that matter, cold. He's an 8-year-old kid. New York paid a bunch of money to be able to pull him in, to be able to have him signed with New York, and in the process, he's been a good addition. He's young. They got him under contract, I think, year 2026. So there's a lot that they can do with this young man, but this is his first winter in New York, I think. So for a kid in Brazil, this is tough. All right, 13:40 right now. And we got another foul on there. Foul on Portland. What are they? Tati's trying to push for a yellow card. He's not going to get it there. Tati wasn't hit. It was James Sands, but he's still pushing to try and get some kind of yellow card here. Yeah, God, they're already hate. Both sides are already hating the officiating at this point. That reminds me of a great quote if you guys remember way back in the day. There's a guy named Joe Garagiola. He was a manager. He did a lot of broadcasting for a while, and Garagiola had a great quote when it came to officiating. The best applause any referee can ever get is dead silence, and that's pretty much true. If you do your job right, nobody bitches at you. If you do something job wrong, one side or the other is going to gripe at you about how much you suck. When I was watching the game in Philadelphia last week, Philadelphia fans are what you expect Philadelphia fans to be, and they were very NSFW when it came to their opinions of the referees, and said certain things that I really can't say on air here because, well, I'm trying to clean up my mouth a little bit, best as I'm able. By the way, apologies in advance. I got a sneeze coming. You ever have one of those things where you get like a sneeze right underneath and you just can't get rid of the damn thing? So, really want to get rid of it, but I can't right now. Oh God, this sucks. Oh, all right. So, yeah, right now, three shots to none. The one shot on target. Clark has been back. He has had to do a lot of work right now. This is the time that, like I said, NYCFC has got to be able to score. If Portland is able to sneak in a goal here, that will frankly demoralize CFC. They've gotten better when it comes to coming from behind, but this is a Portland team that has a strength in being able to score first. They actually had a 4-goal differential, despite getting 56 points and 4th overall in the West, a 4-goal differential. But a lot of that had to do with the fact that when they lost games, they lost them badly. 4-0, 6-1, 3-0. They lost games that were never 1-goal games that often. And as a result, as they're starting to drive, first shot of the game, get tipped, and Tavon boots it up and gives them a little bit of breathing room. That ball, trying to get to the ball back to midfield. Portland's trying to maintain control and does. Kicks it back down the sideline. First arguable scoring chance by Portland so far this game is they got another one opened up right now. And turned over and was able to be stopped. And that ball is tipped. I think it went out of bounds on a Portland player. And yeah, throw in for New York. Tavon's throwing it in now. But Portland is starting to get their legs going. They're starting to get organized. They're starting to be a little crisper right there. Chanel with a block on what would have been a laser beam of a kick that easily could have gone in from outside the box. But Portland is starting to, like I said, make some headway happen. Again, I predicted a 3-2 final on here. I'd like to see NYCFC win. Again, I've been following for the entire season. If you want me to be arrogant enough to say it, NYCFC has never gotten as far as they have in the playoffs until I started covering the team. So you know what? You guys are welcome. I'll give you guys my address if you want to send me like a gift basket or anything like that. That ball, Tavon Gray keeps the ball in bounds, barely manages to hold it in, kicks it over the middle, and header out. But Santiago Rodriguez holds on to it, passes over to Medina, who dekes and kicks it up. We're trying to one-time this thing, and Santiago Rodriguez falls down. That grass, man. That grass is causing so many problems, and Tavon Gray, I think, may have just gotten kicked right in the gut. Oh, man. But New York is starting, like I said, they're getting some of the momentum back. Had Rodriguez not slipped on the grass, I think that would have been a dynamite golden scoring opportunity there, because he was well inside the 18-point yard box. And yeah, there's the header. They're showing the replay right now. Rodriguez passes over to Medina. Medina does a little move, kicks it up, and then the idea was basically to have Santiago Rodriguez do the header on that, as they're showing the replay. And yeah, Asfarilla just did a full right round kick right into Tavon Gray's gut. Oh yeah, he just dropped like a rock there. But we're back under play at this point. We are now at 18-14. So New York is still maintaining control. James Sands has it. He's holding on to it, passes it over. We're to Callens, who gets it. I guess that's Chanel over there in the corner. Chanel starting to drive. Nice little one-timer. Santiago to Tati. First shot tipped. Ball stays upward, not going down yet. Tati inadvertently heads it back, so Tavon's got to back up and get it. But New York is holding possession well. What are the possession numbers? Yeah, right now New York. This game, by the way, if you look at the possession numbers right here, it's currently 40. I can't highlight it. 51-40, 59-41. Oh, we got a Medina with a chance. Medina with trying to hold on to it, passes it back to Tavon. New York is doing a good job holding, keeping the pass going. New York is not taking as many shots on goal as I think they could, but I think that pitch may be part of the problem because they can't get good footing. And Sands just tried to kick and just slid and fell down himself. Again, this is that rain that's causing a massive issue here. I think that's going to slow down a lot of the offense here. Portland takes over, makes controls. He fall down, and they're going to call another goal kick here. Yep. So, yeah, we got a good one as we're almost halfway through the first half. But yeah, they're expecting to have rain on this game literally the entire game right now. So that's going to slow down the pace of play immensely on this. From an MLS business standpoint, I think that hurts the game a little bit because this is a great chance to be able to broadcast internationally, being broadcast in 132 different countries on networks I never even heard of. And I've, from the acting days that I've had, I've gotten paychecks from, international broadcasts from countries I never knew had networks. I still don't know half these networks and who they are. But this is a testament to what MLS is in the U.S. and what the absolute unbridled opportunity they have in the next 5 years and the next 10 years to really solidify their popularity on a U.S. level. I've often said that people in the U.S. typically don't care about sports they themselves did not create. If you think about the sports in the U.S. that are the most popular, football, baseball, basketball, football, baseball, basketball, like the big three. Basketball was created, I believe, by a Canadian, but inside the U.S., that's why I count it. But outside of that, sports that are popular outside the U.S., hockey, soccer, the Olympics, huge elsewhere, not as big here. I think that's going to change. Excuse me, sorry. I think that's going to change right now because a lot of different reasons. They got a watch party going on in New York City right now. I'm not sure, but they just highlighted all the all the fans in a sold out arena, wherever that arena is, at a watch party that's happening. But NYCFC has a great chance to put themselves on the map with a win here and be able to, maybe with a win, convince the Yankees to give them a new stadium of their own. There is talk that they might be able to do that, which will in turn increase their international appeal. Playing at Yankee Stadium, it's a baseball stadium. It is not a soccer stadium. Some of their games have had to actually be literally played at Red Bull Arena. So imagine playing at one of your chief rivals. You have a derby game every single year that it's a rivalry that goes on 3 games. It's bragging rights, and you have to play some of your home games at their stadium because of the setup. If NYCFC can pull off this win, it maybe, who knows, it might be enough to convince the Yankees to be like, all right, we're going to fund the money for a new stadium because we have a champion here. I think if they don't get that, I think if they only get to the finals, I don't think it'll be enough on its own. But we'll have to see what the numbers are as far as the fan base goes here. Speaking in the New York City area, like I am, typically people here don't really know much about soccer. I've had cases where I've talked to people this year, and I'm like, I cover NYCFC, I go to the games and all this kind of stuff, and they're like, "What's NYCFC?" It's the New York City soccer team. New York has a soccer team? It's like, yeah, they broadcast on the Yes Network. They play at Yankee Stadium. I didn't know that. Because this is New York City. This is how it is here. Because you have so many teams in this area that a team that's playing in its first final gets swallowed up. And nobody here, for the most part, even is actually that aware of it. It's kind of a disappointment. But that's part of the reason why New York cannot get themselves a new stadium. Because people in this city don't even care about the team. And that's a disappointment. They've got quality on a lot of different levels. They got a lot of different players that can generate an international appeal when it comes to an international city like New York. New York has such an international flavor that there's so much of a marketing opportunity there that I think the Yankees are really, really screwing up badly by not being able to make that happen. This ball, by the way, just to come back to the game real quick, sorry about that. Portland has started to be able to make a couple things happen. We've got another stoppage in play as Totti is down and rolling around. A little pushing and shoving happening. And Asiaga, I think, just dropped again. Asperilla dropped. No, it wasn't Asperilla. I'm sorry, it was somebody else. But it's getting a little testy right now. No yellow cards that I am aware of as yet, but the possession is starting to go in favor of New York. Earlier on, for the first 5 minutes or so, Portland maintained most of the control of this game. Now it's 61-39. More passes for New York, better pass accuracy, higher fouls, but that's New York for you. The big problem, if there's a glaring problem with New York this season, if there's a glaring problem with New York, it is their inability to keep themselves from getting red cards. I think this season, they had 9 red cards on the season. The second highest team had 5. So they are a prone-heavy team. They are a team that basically takes a lot of shots. They score a lot of goals. They had a great goal differential of 20 versus Portland's 4. But they're an extremely aggressive team. And I've talked to head coach Ronnie Dial about that. And he's like, dude, that's just the way we play. We go all in because if we go back, we lose. Right now we're at 25 minutes at this point. If you got any thoughts, any comments, let us know. Drop us a comment, whatever streaming service you're watching this on. If it's Twitch, it's Facebook, whatever. I see the numbers here, by the way. Let me know what you guys think is going to happen. Let me know what you guys want to have happen. If you have questions for me specifically with what I think is going to happen, what the future of the league is going to be like, as far as my experiences covering the team, my experiences in stunt work in Hollywood, I don't care, whatever the hell you guys want to talk about. I'm down for whatever. As Portland is taking a good shot, and boy, they're starting to really make things happen right now. I got to pay closer attention here. Shot across the middle, and a great stop by Chanel, kicking the ball out of bounds to be able to, at least it's a corner kick. But Portland is absolutely starting to put pressure on now. And the fans are starting to get into this big time. So, yeah, Portland is starting to get a little bit of control going. Corner kick was stopped. And New York is starting to take control back to midfield. Jesus Medina's got it, passes it across. And kick across to Santiago Rodriguez, who's not able to reach it in time. And the ball is back to Portland and coming back to midfield again. 25-54 right now so far. Shore shots are 4-1, 1 on target, which happened in the first 30 seconds. But so far, a bit of an even-keeled game. If anything, I would say be more worried about what Portland is able to do because they're starting to get organized, they're starting to get structured, and they're starting to test Sean Johnson, or they will be pretty soon. Callens with the kick back out. Portland's able to maintain control because it kicks it back across the midline, but they're maintaining better control now. Right now, 26-26. Back to what I was saying before, as I want to try to finish one thought. I think as covering New York right now with this area, not really knowing much about soccer and not even really caring that much, because right now, Giants, Jets, Yankees, Islanders, Mets, Yankees, and Knicks and Nets. You have 8 teams there, not counting New Jersey or anything that's in my neck of the woods. You have so many teams here that get better press and stronger press that NYCFC is just completely flying under the radar here. It's disappointing because this is a team, this area has not had a team go to any kind of final since 2015. And that was when the Mets went and lost in 5 games to the Kansas City Royals. Prior to that, you had the Rangers. Prior to that, you had the Devils. Prior to that, you had the Yankees. And that's for a city that has that many teams in there. You think that they'd be able to do more than they are, but they're not. This is the first time a New York City team has been back in the final for a lot of years now. Portland driving deep, header over by, I think it was done. And they're starting to Portland's starting to really get its legs now. And that's kind of what I expected. I mentioned this in the beginning of the show. If New York was going to have a stronger shot at this, every single time that Portland has lost and lost badly, 4-1, 6-1, 3-0, whatever the final was, when Portland lost badly, the opposing team scored first, struck fast, and struck hard. And that's what New York needed to do right there. That smoke is ambiance. That a lot of teams end up having a smoke in the background just to be able to give a little ambiance and flavor. In New York, they usually have one particular person, whether it be a fan. The playoff game that they had against Atlanta, Aaron Boone, what they do is actually they push down on a button, which sends the smokestacks up and starts the game. That's in this case, they have the same. Portland, additionally, they have a gigantic tree that every time they score a goal, they cut part of the tree off. And that's kind of a really cool thing that they end up doing. It's part of, again, that whole individual aspect of it. Pre-cut. Let's see if I can pull something up here. Oops. But it's been historical for a long period of time now. Yeah, so every time a goal is scored, pass over the middle, Portland's basically trying to drive deep. They cut down part of a tree. Sean Johnson with his first play of the game, that shot was not going to go on target, but he was able to make the catch just the same and maintain possession. Sean Johnson is also the captain of the team and by far and away the leader of this team. For a while, the shots were 4-1. Now it's very suddenly 4-3 Portland because Portland is getting organized, getting structured. And if you're a New York fan, you better start to worry. New York has to strike now, or else little by little, they're going to start falling behind on this one. Okay, so right now, what do we got? 29-25. Pass over to, there we go. It's going back over to Gray. Good pass there. Plays off a Portland defender and still maintains New York control as Tavon Gray looks like he's going to be throwing it in from deep in Portland territory right now. Not a corner kick. Passes over to Santiago Rodriguez, back to Tavon Gray. And I was going to say, down goes Maxi Morales. And Sands has it, passes it over. Over to Callens, over to Chanel. Plays it in deep, and header out of... Oh, no, Morales held it in. That could have been a corner kick, but he chose not. Pass it. Plays deep inside Portland territory. Morales, the hold, passes it over to Oh, nice pass by Medina. The shot and just wide. That's going to end up as a goal kick, but that was a good shot and a great scoring chance by New York right there. That was an absolutely fantastic deke by Jesus Medina on that. They're showing the replay. Yeah, it was a great little back kick. Opened up to Morales, who shot it wide. Tati tried to actually be able to one-time it, but wasn't able to. Tati just couldn't quite reach it in time, and now we got a goal kick instead. But this is the kind of pressure that we needed. And I'm saying we because, yes, I cover NYCFC. Deal with it. I can't stay neutral. I'm sorry. Like I said, I've been with this team. I've been with the crap from this team. You know, the 509-minute scoring drought where they couldn't actually buy a goal, for cripe's sake. And those were terrible press conferences to have to do. My God. You know, it's one thing. When I switched from like the acting world, like I sort of still do now, to more of the broadcasting side, one of the things that I had to do first, and this is kind of a rite of passage, is they're like, okay, you, new guy, go into the losing locker room and talk to the players about how much it sucked to lose. I remember doing it when they had the XFL last year. I remember doing it very distinctly, and it was a game. New York Guardians lost they won a rough game against LA. And I had to go into the LA locker room. They were distraught. They lost 17-14 in a game they should have won. And I had to basically be that guy with the mic and be like, all right, so this is a tough loss. Obviously, hated it. What do you guys need to do to be able to come out with a win next week? And then you got to do that. I freaking hated those kind of things. And I've kind of pretty much vowed that I would never have to really do losing locker room guy ever again. So I'm in a good situation right now where with all game for the most part, they're pretty much all Zoom now, which is, social distancing being what it is. It's a little easier when you just see a guy in front of a screen and be able to just talk to them and it's like, all right, you lost this game. What do you got to do? And not have to meet them face to face. When New York had that scoring drought, which was a team record of 509 minutes that lasted 4+ games there. And it was after a while as a coach and as a player, you don't know what the hell to say anymore. I don't care what players and coaches say. When they say they never read the news about them, they never, read what's written. Bull. You do. I will tell you outright, there's no way that you can not know what's being said about you, whether you know how well you're doing or how badly you're doing. These guys know. And after a while, even with the stuff I used to have to write, I used to try and talk about, I'm big in stats. And it was really, really tough to try and find positives when you're covering a team that can't score if they can't even buy a goal. So it's a little easier on this side of it. And during this, frankly, very impressive run, beating Atlanta, beating New England, and then beating Philadelphia last week, it's been a lot more fun. This pass over the middle, and Clark has to recover. The goalie has to recover it. We are now 33-23 right now. That rate is still continuing to come down. I think if this was a baseball game, they might consider calling a rain delay on something like this, but this is soccer. So the players are having a hard time. The New York players, I think, are having a harder time with the pitch than I think Portland is, probably because I would assume Portland's probably better when it comes to the pitch and dealing with the rain than New York is. New York has been sliding a lot on this field right now and not able to really make things happen. Portland's driving deep inside the box, outside the box, pass over the middle. And nope, not yet. Still holding on to it. Still pass over the middle. All right. They had a chance to be able to drive, but New York was able to drive them back, at least for the moment, and maintain control and recover. So Morales has it and immediately loses it and goes back to Portland at this point. Okay. So you guys right now, how you guys doing? I see the numbers over there on Twitch. You guys, how y'all doing over there? You doing good? Drop us a question. Drop me a thought. By the way, I'll probably throw that up there. No, we can't stream the game. I don't really want to get sued, but wherever you are on planet Earth, planet Soul, whatever you want to call it, the game is being broadcast. I had the list before of where the game is being played. Let's see. Where to watch NYCFC versus Portland. I remember Hudson River Blues. We follow each other on Facebook. He wrote an article. He just wrote an article on that about where to watch it and everything. They're currently 5-1. Portland actually drove deep, but was unable to actually get in deep, and New York ends up recovering the ball. Okay, driving over the middle. Santiago Rodriguez has it right across the marker. And over to Medina. And ball's going to go out of bounds. New York City this season, to give an idea on how that team is, the disparity here. At home, which included Red Bull Arena, which is not a great home for that team. That team at home was 10-3-4 during the regular season. On the road, though, that team was 4-8-5. This is a very strong team at home, but a very weak one on the road. And when it came back to the regular season, when NYCFC was able to scratch out a 1-1 tie and give themselves first round, I think that's the only reason they're able to do this. Yeah, you are on ABC, so you're here. But if you're anywhere in the rest of the country right now, as the ball goes off the side of the goal and Portland returns a recovery of it. Yeah, basically ABC is broadcasting it here, but in a lot of the other countries around the world, Angola, Panama, Kazakhstan. I mean, there's a massive, massive list. Watch MLS Cup internationally. Let's see what we got. Looks like that's okay. What do we got here? All right, so we have. I'm just going to change myself here. Yeah, so we got Latin America, Europe, Brazil, Sweden, China, Taiwan, Southeast Asia, India, China, Ukraine. Skipping down, the Balkans, Sub-Saharan Africa, Norway, Denmark, UK, and Sky Sports, amazing. Georgia, Azerbaijan, Turkey, Netherlands. This game, like I said, has huge international appeal that I'm going to be honest, I think the rest of the world is more interested in this game than, frankly, the U.S. is. And that's kind of a shame a little bit for the MLS. But as I was mentioning before, and I'll get back to that now, is we're at 37 and some change. I do believe, and this is a bold statement, I get it, but I believe that MLS can overtake Major League Baseball, or soccer in general, can overtake Major League Baseball as the third most popular sport in the U.S. sometime in the next 10 years. Medina is able to drive the ball back out, passes it over to Tati across midfield. He's driving deep, and I don't know if he's going to be able to maintain control. Tati drops, he gets back up, he's still rolling, and Portland recovers the ball. I think right now with the way society is, baseball is a glorified background television. I don't think there's that many people, and a lot of people I talk to don't really look at baseball and be like, I'm watching baseball. It's more like it's on in the background until a pitch happens, until something actually happens, and then you pay attention, if at all. I think with the onset of technology being what it is, cell phone technology especially being a great example of that, I think that has caused people to want to be more focused on things as quickly as they happen. The benefit to soccer over baseball is that soccer is never ending. This game has started. There has not been a commercial break yet for ABC. I'm not sure how they necessarily feel about it. Well, actually, I know how they feel about it, but it shows a lot of never-ending action. And anytime there's a stoppage in play, they might have a little blurb in the side for vodka or something, but they'll do that. They'll show a replay, whatever it is. But it's a non-stop action, no commercial break. Baseball, it is nothing but commercials. And as a result, I do believe as the shot goes over the top, Tavon pass, header over the middle, and Jesus Medina did not notice the fact that ball was able to be shot. He didn't turn around fast enough. I don't think he had the ball presence to realize that he couldn't be able to take a shot there. But anyway, as a result, like I said, it's a faster paced world, I think, and thank you for agreeing with me. I appreciate it. I think as a faster paced world as we go, soccer is becoming more popular because baseball is getting more boring. It's taking longer. The strikeout rate is higher. Everybody's swinging for the fences. Little ball is gone. And as a result, it's just a slow slog of a game. Soccer, basically it's going to be about 2 hours. You got, 90 minutes of game time, whatever additional play you've got, 5 minutes each half, maybe kind of thing. 15 minutes for halftime, pretty much 95 times out of 100 at a minimum, 2 hours, you're done. Baseball, you don't know. When we had the World Series, we had World Series games that lasted 4 hours. And some of those games started at 8 o'clock at night Eastern. So if it's the middle of the week and you want to watch your team, you got to be up until 12, 12:30, even 1 o'clock at night for a 9-inning game. And people don't have the energy and the patience for that anymore. This is a faster paced world. This is a TikTok, YouTube world, pass over the top. Tati, and the first goal of the game is New York and Tati. Header went in just enough, and by God, New York has just taken the 1-0 lead right now. Oh man, he is fired up, and there's a billion memes that are going to be made out of that look right there. All right, New York is now up 1-0. That header went just in off the side, and as I mentioned, when Tati Castellanos scores a goal, they are 12-2-3 in the regular season, but the record is about 5-8-5 when he doesn't. For New York, this is exactly what they needed. They needed a Tati goal as Medina is down and grabbing his face. I'm not sure what just happened there. I don't know at this point. I don't know what the hell happened there. Puts a little bit of a sour spot on the goal there. But ironically enough, if he's injured and it happened, is there blood? I don't think this is blood, but I was going to say if that ended up happening, it was Portland actually that hit him. That's going to add a little more fuel to the fire for New York to be able to basically just take control of this game. Some degree of celebration is still happening right now, but they're showing the replay here. Shot over the middle, and then Tati with the header that got Clark was able to get a piece of it, but not quite enough as that ball was able to just roll in. And just went in off the side about 5 miles an hour, but it was enough to basically it's all it takes. But New York is now up 1-0, and as a result, can go into halftime. They can hold this lead at halftime. It'll put a strong hold here. You do not want to have a Portland team be able to get any momentum back. That shot confused Steve Clark there. That was a catchable shot, but I don't think he was prepared for that header and the angle that it took. And as a result, I think that was personally a weaker goal by Clark than it was a good header by Tati. Just the same, a goal is what it is. And New York City is now up 1-0. So, oh, crap. Oh shit! Did that freaking happen? Did somebody throw something from the audience? I've actually misread what actually just flipping happened there, but it looks like something was thrown in from the sidelines and clocked him in the head. Shit! I gotta look. One of the problems with actually having this game on mute is the fact that I can't actually the play-by-play happen there. Let's see. It's Medina. Yeah. Let's see what we got on here. Yeah, the question, did a Portland Timbers fan just throw something at Jesus Medina? Did a Portland fan chuck a soda can at Medina? Go down. If a fan threw a can of beer at him and hit him in the face. Holy shit. Oh, dude. So like I said, that's they may find out who that was and kick and basically send them out. But that I believe from using the movie Hook as an example, bad form. Holy shit. Again, you know what? I think honestly, if you're a New York City player, you'll take a can of beer off the face every single time if it means your team gets a goal in the finals. You'll give yourself a concussion if you have to for that. But yeah, right now 1-0. There's probably going to be a fair number of added minutes. I'm going to say probably 4, maybe even 5. As right now we are at the 44th minute. Goal. The shots on goal are currently 6-2 New York, 2 on target, and New York is up 1-0. Both teams have 6 fouls at this point. Corners 2-1, and the ball is driving deep again, and Portland is scrambling a little bit. Deep, they get deep out, and a slide, and they're driving back in. Let's see, yeah, Sparillo's got it. Basically two-person control against Chanot and also Callens. The ball is out of bounds and is maintained by Portland. Yeah. Chanot was mentioning to the side ref about the fact that he got hit, but they're not going to say anything about it. What a shame. Poor Medina, man. That hurt. As somebody who's actually been hit in the face with the beer can, don't get hit with the face with the beer can. It's a header deep in that ball. Tavon just sends it airborne. So, and here we go. So 44-32 right now. Bravo tries to throw it in, still holding onto that ball for a while. They got warnings are happening on both sides right now. This is starting to get aggressive. A lot of pushing and shoving. Bravo is still holding it and still has not thrown it in. And there we go. We're about to approach 45 minutes, so it'll be interesting to see how many minutes of additional play we're going to get. I'm assuming probably about 5. Ball's driven deep. Clark's going to have to take it out himself. Out of goal for Portland. Drives over the side and immediately turns the ball back over. So they're only giving 2 minutes of additional play. All right, so New York has enough time to make something happen here if they can control this well. Kicks it back across midfield, and then back over to Chanel, who takes it down to Tavon Gray. And James Sands slips on the pitch again. Like I said, that grass. The dead horse is over here, by the way, about me talking about how wet the grass is. And a kick, and Sean Johnson with the first attempt of the game, but the ball was going to go wide, but it was a laser beam of a kick. Good attempt on it. Good attempt by Portland, maybe the best one they've had so far this game. The kick was just shot a little bit wide, but it did force Sean Johnson to have to dive wide. The goal kick, sending everybody back. He's just going to punt this thing as far as he possibly can. Just take this thing all the way across midfield and just burn as much clock as you can. If you're New York, 1-0 is exactly how you wanted the first half to go. This is strangely weird. Like I said, I've followed this team, and I've had to cover this team since the first home game against Cincinnati. Tati's down, and there's a flag on this. They're calling another free kick. I've been there through the highs. I've been there through the lows, and I had to deal a lot with the pain of the previous season and losing to Orlando. That Orlando shootout loss, as painful as it was, when Orlando didn't even have a goaltender at the end by the time, and New York still lost that game. All right, so Morales is going to do a free kick. They're going to probably drive it deep. And here we go. Kick is deep. And Tavon sends it upward. Header, and another Portland player down. Damn, this is getting, like I said, damn aggressive. So Rodriguez is back. But again, soccer is becoming a more popular sport. And I think it's that international influence that's causing that to happen. As more people from foreign countries come here, they bring their sports with them. Tavon kicks the ball out of bounds. It's going to be a throw-in for Portland with very little. Nope, that's it for the first half. So at this point, at the end of the first half, we have a 1-0 score. New York 6-4 in shots, 2-0 on target, 57-43 in possession, 270-203 in passing. Accuracy higher in New York. Fouls are tied at 7, and the corners 2-1. But the number that matters the absolute most, right here, New York City 1, Portland nothing. If you're the head coach, if you're Giovanni Savarese for Portland, this is how you have to be able to decide if this team's going to be able to be strong here. They have to come out strong in the second half. They are a good team when they score first, but a weaker team when they don't. Giovanni Savarese, for those in this New York, New Jersey area, he did play with the then Metro Stars, you go back far enough, and scored the first ever goal in Metro Star history. So he is one of those rare players that actually transitioned to basically the head coach job and be able to win. So I do believe that they're going to come out with a massive, massive fire to start the second half. They have to. New York is going to get first possession to start the second half, but this next goal is going to be crucial. I think this next goal is going to be the one that's going to set the tone here, because if New York can get this second goal here and be able to go up 2-0, they can start to absolutely put the hammer down. But you don't want to, if you're New York, you don't want to have Portland get that momentum back. If you're Portland, you want to basically show that first goal was a fluke and you can recover from it. Portland is, like I said, 38-1 in like 4 or 5, I figure what it is, since 2018 when they score first. But this case, they didn't. And that's where New York has to be able to run with this. For you guys out there, see you guys out there, know you guys are out there. Let me know what you think. Which team are you following? Where are you coming from? Is there somebody that you're pulling for specifically? Depending in this case, anywhere around the world, you have so many different players. This is such an international field that I'm curious in your case, what you guys are here watching this for. What you guys are watching me for, Is it my awesome wolf hat? Probably not. But right now, halfway through, 45 minutes in, and it is now 1-0 New York. This, of course, is Stream Punk Sports. We are available on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at Stream Punk Sports, and on Stream Punk Sport, singular, on Twitter, because Twitter only allows 15 characters. Still relatively easy to find. I'm Scott Churchson. You can find me enough. I'm, like I said, I'm the only, in this case, I am literally the only Scott Churchson in the country, so it's real easy to find me. Let's see. Churchson, there we go. Put that right into there, and we're going to, it's very creative. Me, Scott Churchson, there you go. If you Google me, you'll find me. Yes, I am that guy. I am that Scott Churchson. For better or for worse, that guy that failed on America's Got Talent a bunch of years ago. That guy that sprained a knee and got the crap kicked out of him on several Hollywood projects and has transitioned a little bit more into the sports arena, because I don't know if this may surprise you or not, but being hit with objects starts to hurt after a while. You know, I've been hit with glass bottles. I've been hit with like the beer can. You know, I've taken punches, kicks, sprained knee, torn rotator cuff, herniated discs, the whole shebang. And frankly, at 46 years old, I'm getting a little too old to continue to take those hits. So I went back to school for radio and TV broadcasting. I started working for a company called Football Game Plan last year, covering the XFL, which was a sweet gig. I loved covering the XFL. I had such a blast with that because it is such a blue-collar football league, you know, where you got a bunch of guys that are literally drinking with the fans. You know, I think one of the benefits also to soccer versus other sports, and I've seen this from covering, you know, NYCFC and Red Bull and Philadelphia and some of those teams, is that there's such a more hands-on approach between the players and, you know, the fans. You know, with baseball, you know, the fans may come by, you know, the players may come by, they may take, you know, sign something like a baseball or, you know, do a selfie or little things like that. But there's not as much time for it. In soccer, I have literally watched players. Remember Alexander Callens early in the year? You know, some kid was like, you know, I like your jersey. He's like, okay. End of the game. Just gave the kid the jersey. You just took it off. He didn't give a crap. He just wanted to give the kid the jersey. This kind of stuff happens in soccer, which makes fans for life. You got some little kid who's a fan of this team, in this case, Portland, you know, and Sean Clark's like, you know, yeah, sure, let's take a selfie. And I've seen this so many times where they're just like, you know, and it's like, you know, by the way, this is my Instagram, et cetera, et cetera. It endears and locks down the fan base. And that's where I think this team, which I want to fix that real quick. I just realized I have a question mark there. It really locks down a fan base when you have that kind of connection between them. And one of the great things about the XFL last year is that you had fans that interacted directly with the players. The players did not make $6, $7, $8, $10 million a year. They made a living, $100,000, $200,000 a year, which in the U.S. is very, very easily livable. But more than that, they were able to play professional football on a national stage. There were places like St. Louis, which has been starved not once but twice of a football team. St. Louis Battlehawks, that XFL team in its first season, was drawing 1 million viewers a game in local markets. That city had just won the Stanley Cup Finals the year before, and the XFL was outperforming the Stanley Cup champions. That's how important that team was to that city. You know, you had other places like Seattle where it was crushing it. Here in New York even, you know, people were excited for it. And New York, again, like I said, there's too many sport teams over here anyway. But for a lot of the other places, yeah, they were just impassioned to watch the XFL. And had COVID not happened, we would be in our second season of the XFL and probably growing. The first time the XFL was around 20 years ago, and I remember that, it was labeled as extreme football. You had Jesse Ventura, you know, the professional wrestler. You got all these guys here. You know, we're going to be talking about, this ain't your mama's football. This ain't NFL football. This is real man football. And it was trash. It was a bunch of minor league football that was just unbridled crap and had some of the lowest ratings professional sports ever had. And it was gone after a year. This time around, Vince McMahon was smart with it and was like, this is minor league blue collar football. And the great thing about it is, and I remember this for the Washington game, the Washington game created a beer snake. If you don't know what that is, it's when you take all the beer cups and you line them together to make one huge colossal snake. And they had a beer snake going from the upper tier all the way down literally to the field itself. Hundreds upon hundreds of beer cups to make this gigantic snake. And the commissioner of the league, the commissioner of the XFL, added a couple of beer cups himself to that as well to add to the league. It was a genius move. And that's the kind of interaction that a lot of the bigger professional sports, I think, lack. You know, there is this separation between baseball and football. You know, basketball, I think, is a little more interactive directly between player and fan. And part of that is because of the fact that they are so close to the court. But with a lot of the other sports, there is a disconnect between the fans and the players. Soccer's strength is it doesn't have that. Like I mentioned, Alexander Callens gave his own jersey out. Sean Johnson did the same thing. when New York clinched the first round of the playoffs at home after the come behind win against Philadelphia. The players there, they had memorabilia, they had towels, they had balls, they had all this kind of stuff, and every player was going by and signing everything. That post-game press conference started an hour later than it was supposed to, because all the players and Ronnie Dyla and all the coaching staff were just sitting there and just signing everything, doing selfies, interacting with the fans, talking, answering questions, just a real interactive experience. And that's what the other sports are lacking right now. And that's part of the reason why, and this may surprise you a little bit too, this is part of the reason why not just baseball is declining in standings, but so is the NFL. We looked at this the other day. I think it was either on SportsDen or Streampunk Sports. I forget which one it was. But looking at the last pre-5 years, I'm not going to count COVID last year because those numbers are terrible. But if you look at the last 5 years of TV ratings for the Super Bowl itself on the Super Bowl on a nationwide stage here, from 2016 to 2020, the TV ratings, 2016, 47.8, 47.6, 43 million. In 2019, 39.95 million. And then 2020, the year before COVID, the Super Bowl drew 38.6 million people in the U.S. That is a progressional decline every single year, because people are starting to not be as interested in the Super Bowl as they used to be. I do not, in fact, have the 18 to 49 market, but it's going to be probably matching all the way through with it, with the numbers I just said. I don't know what the numbers are specifically, but usually what the 18 to 49 is, although that's the biggest demographic, it's conducive to the rest of the country as well in the overall numbers. So last year, by the way, if you're curious, Tampa Bay and Kansas City drew 34.28 million during COVID, which is about 1/7, we'll say 1/8 of the country. No, wait, probably about 1/10 of the country. What are we at? 320 million now in the U.S. So 90% of the population in the U.S. were not watching the Super Bowl last year. And that's a brutally bad number. That progressive decline is part of the reason why soccer has a chance to be able to start really making some headway and be able to take control, because it's quick, it's never ending, there's no commercials, it is a fast-paced sport and no slowdown. We got to, even halftime here is 15 minutes, then bam, right back into it. And again, no commercials throughout. You got the commercials on the sidelines, fine. Obviously Continental, Audi, Pringles chips, fine, whatever. All sports have that. And then, of course, at the same time, you also have during stoppages little tiny blurbs that happen, but the camera there. Something also the XFL. The XFL did that too. They did not really have commercial breaks. Anytime there was a stoppage of play, what they would end up doing is they would have some blurb for Bud Light or whatever that was on there, while you can still see the camera basically covering the game itself. And that was big. Again, there's no disconnect. There's no time away. With baseball, you had commercial breaks that would last 3, 4, even 5 minutes. You can do so much in that time that you have to get yourself reinvested into the sport. Football is the same way. As I mentioned earlier in the show, we are moving into a faster and faster paced world. We are moving into a TikTok, YouTube world where everything is snap of a finger, move on to the next thing. The idea of sitting and watching a baseball game for 3 hours or 4 hours is boring to most people. It's boring to me. I went to baseball games at Yankee Stadium last year. I was freaking bored because there's so little to do. Because my brain, as you can tell by the way I'm talking, my brain at this point is a TikTok level brain. I'm 46 years old, so I'm not a TikTok demographic. But the way that I talk, the way that I think is faster than it was when I was in my baseball heyday. And I'm 46. You got an 18, 20-year-old. They don't care about baseball. The average median age of a baseball fan in the United States is 57 years old. In soccer, I believe it's 42. So they know how to hit the younger crowd. And that's why, like I said, soccer in the next 5 to 10 years, probably closer to 8 to 10, will overtake baseball as the third most popular sport in the U.S. And it's gutsy, I admit it, but I believe it, because it contains people's interest more. The scoring might not be there for the U.S. audiences, and I understand that, but there's no commercial break, and there's no stoppage of play. It just continues. And that's what baseball needs, and that's what football needs. That's what all the other sports that are declining in their ratings. And I just showed you what the Super Bowl ratings were. Let me pull up, actually, just for grins here. We're in halftime, and we haven't come back yet. These are the Super Bowl ratings that I was just looking at, if you can see it. I'm gonna minimize myself in the process. So if you can see this right here, that's the Nielsen ratings in the U.S. for the Super Bowl. Now, if you look in the, that was the 18 to 49 right there. That 18 to 49 crowd, you look at the ratings on the right side of that screen, and you see what it's been since 2017, where it's 47.6 million. And the traditional decline in the 18 to 49 market. That's bad, man. That's a terrible, terrible decline because that demographic doesn't care about football as much anymore. A lot of the people in that demographic don't even care about sports, period. And it's changing where I think, who knows what's going to happen to sports in general, but I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Here's a good one. If games are 20 to 30 minutes shorter, like they were in the heyday, you used to have a baseball game that would be 2.5 hours. The commercial breaks were shorter. Back in the 50s or 60s, the World Series used to have like 9 minutes of commercial breaks. It would be like one commercial for every inning. Now you have commercial breaks that, that last 3-4 minutes and commercials that run an hour long. And again, combining that in baseball with the fact that you have a sport where everybody's swinging for the fences, the strikeout rate is higher. It's a slower game between pitches. Baseball has talked about the pace of play and what needs to be done to make it more interesting. The pace of play is one thing, but I think the continual action is another. On the Sports Den, we did talk about basically like 5 imaginary rules that we can change in baseball. If we were somehow the magic commissioner to make this happen, to make baseball more interesting. One of the ones that I had was you can institute a power play where basically the other team has to do without one fielder for, say, half an inning. Be who it wants to be. You can't be a pitcher or a catcher. In that case, you can't do that one. But if you want to do with 2 outfielders or only 3 infielders or something like that because you made an error the previous inning, make it a power play like soccer has or like hockey has. I think that could add a little bit of intrigue into baseball. Will it happen? Hell no, it's not going to happen. But it was one of those imaginary what-if scenarios of what would make baseball more interesting. I know in the Atlantic League, they've moved the pitcher's mound back a little bit. So the pitch is a little bit slower when it reaches home plate. Plus, additionally, they're using automated umpires to call balls and strikes. The regular play in the field hasn't changed any. But when it comes to the actual strike zone, it is a bona fide strike zone, not up to the umpire's opinion. They have an earpiece, which actually based something up top, robotic umpire alerts them, ball, strike, whatever it is, and they just make the announcement. Atlantic League has invoked that, and as a result, you have a more aligned strike zone. By the way, I just want to point out we are now back into the second half at this point. NYCFC has control because they had the kickoff in the second half and are already driving deep at this point, trying to maintain control. Santiago Rodriguez passes it over to Morales. He's trying to hold it inside the midfield, and that ball is the first one out of bounds. So we're now 45 minutes in, and the other Morales is about to throw it in. All right. Portland has it inside their box, has to kick it back to Steve Clark, who takes it midfield. Midfield, Sands. That just knocked it all the way straight down, back towards the box again. And New York is immediately starting out with the pressure that they needed to do to set a tone for the second half. Terrarson has it down the side. Passes it over to Callens. Callens had the big game-winning shootout goal again. One of the biggest goals of his career by far and away. Ronnie Dylo looks extremely intense, as he often does. I remember there was a ribbon cutting event in the Bronx. It was in Chinatown, I guess like a month ago. And it was one of those things where New York City had this initiative where they were going to open up like 50 new pitches on the field in 5 years. And they finally had pitch number 50, and I was at this event. It was so weird to see Ronnie Dyla as a happy, outgoing guy who could just be a dude. He answered questions and did interviews and all this kind of stuff. It wasn't that big a deal. But it was funny because you got to see a different, head coach. You got to see a different team because they're out socializing as opposed to being, consummate soccer players. They were just dudes that were there as guests, and it was kind of a neat feeling. But New York is holding tight right now. They're keeping the ball in the zone. Portland actually gets the ball back, and so far for the first 2 minutes, nothing much has happened. Morales is trying to keep the ball in, little pushing and shoving, and stays in bounds. Morales drops, but the game continues. Sands tried to get it, couldn't do it. Now we're closing in on midfield, back out again. Portland maintains control now and is heading towards the midfield line. I don't know what that sound effect was I made just now. I apologize for that. And they're starting to get their first run towards Sean Johnson and the New York City goal. And Rivas with a kick, but it was immediately turned over and kicked back to midfield again. New York now has the ball back. Morales over to Jesus Medina. Jesus Medina is always easy to tell who he is because he's got the giant man bun, because he has hair that's way better than my own, and I'm jealous as hell. Part of the reason I wear the hat. For you guys, like I said, as always, let us know in the comments what you think, what you like. If there's a team specifically you guys are pulling for, let me know. 48 minutes at this point. James Sands maintains control and stays on his feet. Nice little move there. Tripped, was able to keep his balance and maintain possession over to Santiago Rodriguez, who hands it over to Morales. Goody's trying to get in but couldn't do it. Totti drops, and there's a stoppage in play. It's a free kick for New York, and Portland is pissed on that one. So it's going to get this could become a very, very angry, intense matchup, especially if this goes longer and New York able to hold on to this lead. Oh yeah, Totti just tripped straight up tripped over a foot. But right now, the big telling sign is the fact that we're now starting the second half, and Portland has not had one single shot on target. That is huge, because their key is to be able to get that ball where they need to go. It's funny. This fan base was fired up as hell when this game started. You're not hearing a lick out of them right now. And you got a goal kick right now. It's going to happen. If New York goes up 2-0, this fan base is going to be brutal. So, kick over the middle and off the crossbar, but I don't think it was going to go in anyway. So, New York was complaining that the thing that Steve Clark may have touched it, resulting in a corner kick, but I don't think he did. No, it went off the top of the crossbar. Good kick, just a little too high. And I think Clark would have probably made that save regardless, though. Up there, calling it a corner kick. My bad. Shows what I know. All right. Morales won with the corner kick right now. That is their third corner kick of the game. 50th minute, across the middle, and just missed a header that would have been a guaranteed goal. Oh, jeez. Instead, it's a goal kick for Portland. Yeah, good corner on that. Good one-time attempt. Yeah, who was that? That was, it looks like it was Callens that actually just couldn't get there in time for what would have been a guaranteed goal. Portland's driving deep immediately at this point, kicks it over the top and kicks it out of play, and we are basically having a throw-in. New York gets the ball back. At this point, New York is still maintaining possession on a 59 to 41 ratio. Goody Aronson with the throw-in. 51 minutes. We're on the 51st minute right now. Portland's getting control back. Sends it all the way back to Clark again. You're going to start seeing pretty soon a Portland team that's going to be forced to have to start taking chances. Again, like I mentioned, they have not had one single shot on target this entire game. They've had 4 shots overall, but they have not had a single shot on target. And as a result, they need to start putting pressure on. Because if they don't, this game is done. Like I said, the next goal is going to be probably arguably the most important one here, whichever side it ends up being. We're going to do it that way. Just zoom it in a little bit more. All right. And another stoppage of play. Callens with a trip, and I think Callens is not getting a yellow. All right, Portland has a goal kick, but it is not a yellow card yet. No yellow cards in this one. New York was remarkably well known for yellow cards, and like I mentioned earlier in the game, they had the most red cards of any team in MLS by a wide margin. No team in MLS had more than 5 red cards the entire season. New York had 9. Additionally, like I said, they were able to get past Philadelphia last week without Tati Castellanos in the lineup, who has the only goal of this game. Header out of play, and we are going to have a corner kick at this point. Portland. This is so far probably Portland's best shot to be able to equalize this game. As we're now in the 53rd minute, Char is about to take it out, and one timer in deep, and a header, and still in play, and still not out of the zone yet. Able to hold it, block. New York is able to reorganize themselves a little bit right now. Medina over the middle to Santiago Rodriguez, who's driving deep and quickly. And no foul on that. New York wanted a couple fouls there, but weren't going to get it. 53 minutes in, still going. Shots are currently 7-4 and 3-0 on target, which again, that's big for Portland. You guys may or may not know this, but with soccer, if it's a tie score after 2 halves, you have 2:15. You have 2:15 minutes in the playoffs, 2 individual 15 minutes, so it's not 30. And then after that, then you have the shootout. New York won the shootout against New England. Philadelphia won the shootout against, was it Orlando? I think I forget. I'm drawing a blank on that one real quick. And another stoppage in play as a New York player is down. Who do we got? Oh, is that that's Maxime Chanot that's down. Asperilla is pleading for Portland. And I think he's getting a yellow card for that too. And oh God, that rain is coming down. I don't know what they're calling that on. Flying kick off the leg. I don't know what that. They're calling that a yellow card there? Did they draw blood? I'm not sure. Well, we'll find out in a second. New York City up 1-0, 54th minute. Chanot's got a little blood going on right now, but play continues. Portland maintains control just outside the box. Okay. 55 minutes. Van Rankin with the throw in for Portland. And still waiting at this point. Still waiting. Finally, the throw in. Kicks it across midfield. And another stoppage in play. Okay, so as far as you guys go, let me know your thoughts, comments, ideas, compliments, or complaints. Chanot is still grabbing his nose repeatedly at this point. Tati Castellanos with the only goal of the game. The only reason why New York really, I think, had any kind of shot at actually succeeding this year. Earlier in the year, he had, I believe it was a 9-game goal drought. And he himself, I mentioned the fact that New York had a 509-minute drought without scoring a goal. Tati had a goal drought of like 5 to 9 games, I forget what it was, where he couldn't get something in the net either. He couldn't buy a goal himself. And it was immediately after he signed that long-term contract. So I got to wonder if it was the contract that did it. Because in sports, a lot of times when you sign a big contract, you are under so much pressure to perform that, frankly, you overdo it and you screw up. So who do I go for? In my case, out of loyalty, I have to go for NYCFC, the New York City underdog Cinderella team of the MLS. I have been covering this team since the beginning of the year, since the Cincinnati home game where they won 5-0. I have been there through the highs and lows. I have been there for pretty much every press conference, soup to nuts, good and bad. A lot more bad than I wanted to do. And press conferences, like I mentioned earlier in the show, royally suck when you have to do a press conference and your team loses badly or gets shut out. Right now, at this point, I've watched this team. I've been there through all of it. And it's been a good run. I'm fortunate as heck. In my particular case, I get the press passes. I get, Yankee Stadium. I'm in the press box where like WFAN is where I usually park myself. Red Bull Arena has a nice one. I was in the luxury suite at Philadelphia last week as New York is starting to drive deep. Santiago Rodriguez with the kick and the save by Steve Clark, right dead center. Not a difficult stop for him. Even a rebound wouldn't have amounted to much there, but another shot on goal for New York. Their passing is going well. That was a good swing right there. Again, not a difficult save, but it's still putting a lot of pressure on Steve Clark right now and keeping the ball in Portland's end. But yeah, for me personally, I've covered NYCFC. I've written article after article at this point. I've done so many press conferences with these guys. I've gotten to know them, the Yes Network guys that broadcast. It's been a good run, and it's been a fun run. And for me, as a New York City area sports fan, being predominantly Jersey with the Giants, the Devils, and obviously the Yankees as well, I've got a good pass over the middle. Jesus Medina with the shot and the save, but I think that would have gone out of bounds anyway. It would have gone past the net anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. Another pressure on Portland's goalie. But for me, like I said, this is the first time that New York City in the area has had any team in a final since 2015. And that was when the Mets lost to Kansas City in 5 games. Prior to that, in 2013, the Rangers were in the Stanley Cup Finals and lost in 5. Prior to that, the Devils were in the Stanley Cup Finals and lost to the Kings, just like the Rangers did, in 6. But for this city to have as many teams as it has, what do we got? 2 baseball, 3 hockey, 2 football, 2 basketball, and 2 soccer teams. This is the first time we've had a team in this city in the finals in 6 years. That's a while. So right now, Portland's got the corner kick going deep and mistimed header, and New York recovers. Okay. Just got a message on my phone to remind me to clean the cat's litter box. I can't imagine how a 12-pound cat can actually crap that much. Anyway, Santiago Rodriguez with the trip right now, and we definitely have ourselves a yellow card at this point. The yellow card, I'm not sure who that's going to just yet right now. Is it Van Rankin that's getting it for Portland? Yeah, it's going to be Van Rankin for the trip. Yeah, the trip, the slide, and down goes Santiago. But that's the first yellow card of this game, I believe. And New York maintains control. Santiago's checking his shin guard real quick. When I was a kid, I used to play soccer, and getting kicked in the shin is one of the worst freaking feelings you can have in soccer. But I was part of those little underage, like under 10 leagues, where there really wasn't players that played positions, just more a bunch of people on each side kicking the ball the other way. So I got some video of my old soccer games when I was like 7 years old. God, we sucked. These guys are so much better, obviously, in this point. But anyway, let's see. We got Terarenson with the kick across, back to Morales, who passes it back to Terarenson. And ball is going in deep, and Portland's able to recover, and there's a stoppage in play anyway. Portland's able to hold on possession at this point. Clark is about to kick it deep. Shots right now are 9-6, but again, more importantly, Portland does not have a shot on goal in 60 minutes. New York has 5, which is kind of in line to what they do as a high shooting team. This team has led the league in shots pretty much the entire season. Shots on target was theirs too. Their numbers, what's more extraordinary to me is this team, frankly, more or less sucked outside of Yankee Stadium. Anytime they played at Yankee Stadium, their record was phenomenal. Outside of Yankee Stadium, even when they played quote-unquote home games at Red Bull Arena, their record and their scoring numbers dropped dramatically. So the fact that they were able to win not 1 but 2 and lead here on the road is huge for a New York City team that, frankly, there was a lot of concerns about their ability to win on the road. And the New York City Cinderella team, which feels like such an oxymoron to say, is now 30 minutes plus bonus time away from taking an MLS Cup. I mean, do I get credit for that? Probably not. But I did say it earlier in the show. This team never went to a final until I started covering the team. So I can say that if I want. Gift baskets can be sent to my house. My name is Scott Church. But like I said, it's kind of bizarre because when I took the gig, I'm like, okay, cool. And free tickets and everything like that. But you start to really get to know the players and the coaching staff, and you get to know these guys amazingly well. And it's a cool experience to just talk to them about this, talk to them about life in general. Like I mentioned about a month ago, I was talking to a lot of these guys at an event in Chinatown. It was a big charity event. I think the head of the New York City Parks Department was there. The mayor's wife was there. It was a lot of the usual typical speeches and all that boring crap. But it was nice to be able to just see the players, talk to the players, and just kibitz in a regular, chill environment. And the weather was amazing too. For mid-November in New York City, you never know what the hell you're going to get. But my biggest concern was, holy crap, I'm hot. It's hot in here. It's hot out here. But it was a good environment. So 62 minutes in, a lot of passing back and forth, not a whole lot of movement right now. There we go. Now it's across midfield. New York maintains possession. Medina passes it across to, is that Tavon? Medina still holding on to it. And Portland's able to recover quickly. Okay. Hey, Mr. J.D. Walker, how you doing, sir?
Doing fine. How are you? Had some technical difficulties for a while, and
Okay.
an hour-long phone conversation with Verizon Fios to straighten out some internet issues.
I just looked for the message now. I've been so focused on this game right now that actually I didn't even notice you sent the message.
Mm-hmm.
I just got the Zoom link now from NYCFC for the post game. So when the game is over, one way or another, I'll probably have to do that.
Okay.
It's okay. That's fine. Yeah, one of the big differences between the MLS on the local level and on the national level is it's done in this case by MLS itself, obviously, but their format is completely different. It's a much more involved setup, and it's honestly a lot harder to get in and ask questions on.
For the MLS press conferences versus the team for regular season.
Yeah, the local stuff is so much easier in this case because it's just like, here's the link, and the guy Esteban is phenomenal. He is such a good press coordinator. He pretty much just takes it in the order that people raise their hands. So me typically being the first, I end up being the guy who ends up asking questions initially, for better or for worse, to Ronnie Dyla.
For some teams and some coaches, like it is sometimes a sign of respect of like, I'm always taking the first question from this reporter.
That's where it usually ends up for me typically. And again, for Esteban, and when Sam Cook was running, there was a guy that was running early in the season. And then when Sam Cook took over, he just kind of pick and chose. But with Esteban, he's like, I go with the order that it was received. And since usually it's like, I'm like on the button like that immediately, they're like, leading off with Scott. It's like, all right, hey.
Yeah, because for some places, depending on the kind of media, relationship they'll have with the media outlet, or if there's a writer that they have a good rapport with, like for example, for the Seton Hall basketball, Coach Kevin Willard has a great rapport with JP from he used to work for the Record. Now he writes for Forbes. JP Pelsman, that was the name I was thinking of. But JP Kevin always goes to JP for the first question. At any of the post game press conferences, whether in person or Zoom.
Yeah, and I don't know after this game if they're going to do a local one once they get back. Ball goes back out of bounds right now. 65 minutes. Terrarenson still has it. It's funny. I'm looking at Ronnie Dyla right now, and you can see like the intensity on his face. Yeah. And you can see on one hand where he's just like, 25 minutes plus bonus time. We've got the championship. It is really cold out here. But
it is. We have a northwest weather day of, cold and rainy and gross.
Yeah, and it's crap over there. But he did make the announcement that actually if they won the MLS Cup, he would take off his shirt and run shirtless throughout the stadium, or at least on the field, but which he said, it's a price I'm willing to pay. I'm cool with that. So actually, interesting fun fact. He is literally exactly 1 day older than I am.
It's interesting when you see, it's sign of, aging as a sports fan is, when you're the same age as the players versus the coaches. And, now there's coaches in the league younger than you.
Yeah. And that's, like I said, that's the purest sign when the head coach, like I said, the head coach is exactly 1 day older than me. Pitch out, kick off the side. Portland's not able to get the ball out of midfield. New York recovers, passes it over to Terrarenson. Terrenson's trying to drive inside the box over to Santiago Rodriguez, who passes it just inside the box, and it's the turnover, and Portland has the ball back and taking it the other way. And we have another stoppage in play for a free kick for Portland. Again, right now shots are still 9-6, 5-0. One yellow card for Portland. So if Van Esten ends up getting another one, he will be out of the game permanently.
Yeah. NYCFC having Castellanos back makes a huge difference as well.
Huge. Yeah. I mean, I mentioned it earlier in the show that they were 12-2-3 during the regular season when he scored a goal. That right there is a huge difference maker. And the goal here was a header that just kind of clipped the side. I think Steve Clark could have made that stop, but I think he was unprepared for it. And got 70% of it, but the other 30% is what basically made all the difference. Frankly, it was a really ugly goal when you think about it. When you think about like soccer highlights, if that's the only goal, that is a kind of a really weak goal. For
it's one of the. It's unfortunately one of those goals.
And
that
shot across the middle, and wait, Portland, hang on. Portland driving deep and not able to convert. They had a great shot to be able to convert, but there's a stoppage in play.
And
it was in deep. Is that going to be a? That's probably not going to be a penalty kick. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm catching up on what just happened too. So
the kick over the middle, and then there was a great opportunity, but a good block by Santiago and Medina there, and then
I think they called him for being in the box.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, free kick the other way.
Yeah, and going down deep. I don't like New York. New York has maintained pressure throughout, which is the big key. But I don't like the fact that if they start going, start playing defensively, that's when typically
hard fall there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Santi Rodriguez is spinning a lot. Oh, I would say, Tati's pissed off as hell too. He's holding his shoulder though.
Okay, we get it. Get up.
Yeah, I know. I know. You never see this kind of stuff in like football or something like that, where you see a drive and then they just drop.
Admittedly, you see it in basketball, but it's not as much as soccer. It's this and what you were saying, and the point I was about to make before, where you said it was kind of the one goal was kind of a garbage goal. Those are the things that the soccer haters will say. Yeah, this is why you can't watch soccer because it's just stopping and shut up.
I don't know if
this is way more entertaining than baseball anymore.
Well, I mean, I went on a rant about that. I'm not sure how much of this part you listened to, but I went on a massive rant about what baseball has done, versus soccer. And additionally, I mean, this is a game that's 3 p.m. on, Eastern time on a Saturday afternoon, noon on the West Coast. Everybody's doing something else at that point. This game, the start of this was preempted. It was a kick over the middle, and
I did see that they pushed it back to finish up the on UCLA women's game, which was oddly enough played in Prudential Center in Newark.
I saw that too. I mean, listen, that was a good basketball game. I'm not denying that.
Yes.
But as I started reading tweets in the meantime as I was doing the broadcast trying to get this thing going, and they're like, "You're making the Super Bowl of the biggest soccer match in the U.S. put it on hold for college basketball." And like I said, it pissed off a lot of people. But if you looked at it, I don't know if you heard this part too, but this game is also being broadcast in 131 countries around the world outside the U.S. That's huge.
Yeah, so that's a bad job by ESPN and ABC to do that. But at the same time, I get it. It's one of those things where that's a replay of the earlier.
That's the replay. Uh-huh. Yeah. You see Ronnie's reaction, which is the first time I've seen it.
Yeah.
He's almost in shock with that ball. He's like, "Does that count? Does that count? Does that count?"
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Ooh, that's 23-5 in the last 3 years when trailing at the half. That is a huge.
That's a big. Well, that's what I had mentioned earlier on. That when Portland lost badly this season, 4-1, 6-0, New York, the other opposing team struck hard and showed no mercy. Mm-hmm. And, I looked through all the numbers because I was trying to figure out how a team could have 56 points or 55 points, score 56 goals in a season, but have such a bad goal differential and a good record like that.
Yeah.
Header in deep. Portland's definitely
the wrong way.
Portland's definitely being more aggressive now because when Portland loses, a lot of times they lose bad, by 5-6 goals. And that's where the difference maker was. And in every single one, I went through each one of them. Goals were scored within the first 15 minutes.
Yeah. Well, this is Portland's third time in the final. They've won one and lost one.
Yeah. And New York City, arguably one of the media capitals of the world, is the Cinderella team of soccer here.
Yeah. And you were mentioning, the lack of finals appearances, which, from a Yankee fan, I'll always laugh at that. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
You also forgot the 2012 Devils final.
Oh no, I didn't. No, I didn't. Oh no. No, 2015 was the Mets. 2013 was the Rangers. 2012 was no. I mentioned it. Believe me, I'm not going to let that one go because that was the last time the Devils were actually a decent team.
Yeah, the one time they made the playoffs in the stretch of
Well,
in the stretch of 10 years.
they made it in 2018, but got crushed by
Right.
Tampa immediately. But yeah, that was Henrique It's Over. I remember that one very well.
Yes,
Because I had no TV at that point, so all I could do was like watch it on like CBS.com or CBSSports.com. So when I'm watching the updates habitually during overtime, and I'm like, is that real? Is that real? Is that real? And I started to go into all the other websites to find out actually if it was legit. But it was not legit to me until I actually saw the goal scored.
That Henrique It's Over game. I was with my girlfriend at the time. We were at a bar watching a game, but stuff was not going well at that bar, and we were leaving. So it was okay. And then the game went into overtime. So we said, okay, we'll hop over to this other bar on the other side of town, because overtime will take
Also
forever.
in the middle,
Right as the intermission, right as we were going to leave, was when the goal happened. But we were able to see the TVs through the windows of the bar, so we were still able to see it. And we're going.
You saw it as it happened.
We're driving out of there.
Yeah, and then they traded Henrique for Palmieri, who's now over in the Islanders. So
yeah, the Islanders with Lou apparently is where all the washed up Devils careers are going to die now. But Lou is doing the same thing he did with the Islanders that he did with the Devils.
Yeah.
But, to get sidetracked into the wrong sport a little too much. Back to
it's okay. It's
okay. Third minute here.
We got it. But yeah, no, we're good here. We're good. But yeah, 74 minutes in at this point, still 1-0. Shots are now basically 8-1 for Portland. So they're starting to put a little more pressure on because they don't have a choice but to. I was wrong last time. I thought there was going to be 4 or 5 minutes of added time last time around. It was only 2. But right now, I don't know. What do you think? 2 minutes added time? Maybe 3?
Probably 3.
Yeah. So pass over the middle.
This will also enhance the rivalry of the Red Bulls. The red. What is it? Red versus blue, they call it.
Yeah. But with this particular game here, again, the big question is, and this is going to put a lot of pressure on the Yankees, being owners 20% of this team. You have a team that won in the finals. Does this get New York City a new soccer stadium? I don't know.
But also, it's interesting because which would have been better for the MLS? Playing in the gross rain in Portland or playing in a baseball stadium? Which would the league rather had?
Sean
Because
Johnson with the save.
Because if RSL had won, then you would be playing this game in Yankee Stadium.
I know. Yeah. And that's the ironic thing. If Real Salt Lake had won this game, I wouldn't be doing this broadcast right now. I'd be over there.
Right.
Because I would make damn sure it's like, hey, Esteban, let's make this happen. And he's like, yeah, done. But yeah, it's funny because most of our press conference stuff is always done in Zoom, except for the one in Atlanta. They actually let us down there, and I got to see what the press arena at Yankee Stadium is like. And again, it's nice. It's weird because you got up front where you have really these ergonomic $700 chairs, but they have those little fold out, you remember those with high school desks, you had that little fold out piece of wood to write on.
Oh, like the piece of wood that you could fold on the side, whatever.
Yeah, so you got these $700, $800 chairs with a little piece of wood that you just flip off to the side. And it was really kind of funny, but it was a neat experience because, again, it's parts of Yankee Stadium I have never been into and nobody ever gets the chance to. The first time I was there way back when they played Cincinnati, I was walking through and I was taking pictures because there's so much memorabilia inside the areas of Yankee Stadium that nobody gets to see. And my father, who was raised on Berra, Mantle, Elston Howard, Argymaris and the rest, and kick is up and an easy save for Sean Johnson as he just drops on it to make sure it's safe. I was sending him video and pictures and dude, this is what's over here. Sports Illustrated, signed stuff. And they do a really cool job inside that you never get to see normally.
Yeah. It's incredible. Some of the stuff that the teams will put up just to have just around their buildings. It's almost like it's basically one giant man cave if you think about it. So
totally is.
They just have a lot more memorabilia because
also.
Yeah, from when I interned with the Nets and work I did with Seton Hall basketball, I knew had access to almost every square inch of the Meadowlands Arena, which was which was fascinating. You know,
Booth 106, the electronics booth. I was raised there.
Yeah,
but
between the Meadowlands, a little bit in Prudential Center, but I haven't been around there as much. But I did one of the Devils. They did a tour of the locker rooms and stuff before COVID. You know, where they had the banner nights, and you could take a tour of the locker room and see their practice facility and stuff. That was interesting.
So right now, 78 minutes. Portland is definitely trying to get it more aggressive. The fans are rallying best as they're able to keep this thing going. They were just highlighting the band fans. And the kick is up, and it is, I was saying, Portland's able to hold on to it, keep it in bounds barely.
Yeah. How big is the stadium in Portland? How many fans are there? Is this about 30,000?
They probably, I would say it's probably sellout. Providence Park can hold 25,000.
25,000? Okay.
Yep. I'm going to take a guess and say Providence Park is 25,614. Let's see. Providence Park. And how many can you say?
Where would you build a soccer-specific stadium in New York City, though?
Rumor has it there's a space in the is available. 25,218, by the way. There is a spot available in the Bronx that's like a half a mile down. There's an abandoned building that can be leveled to build a new stadium. But I don't know here. The theory that we had on our side of the fence is that they would habitually assign an architect to draw up a blueprint and then just deliberately never use it because it was less expensive than actually having to go through the entire process. But I mean, if you're New York City, as you know, if you're the Yankees, as we're now 79 minutes and right at midfield, if you're the Yankees, it makes no sense whatsoever to build a new stadium for a soccer team because you got free rent in this other location, and rent in New York City is brutal. So it would require a lot of money be drawn in from NYCFC to warrant that, because they're coming across the field right now. Pass over to Tati, who takes the kick and goes just wide. I think it may have been tipped.
Yeah, but for an organization like I understand not wanting to put that payout, but it's not like they don't have the money. They just, you can choose not to spend the money.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
but also now that they're on the verge of possibly on the verge of a championship in the next 20 minutes, that may force the issue. Also, the league may. I wonder what power the league would have as far as putting a bit pressure on the ownership to,
could be.
Can you build a real stadium now?
But by the way, Santiago Rodriguez is being pulled out, and Izzy Tazuri-Shadi just came in, and a yellow card just got issued to something.
Who's showing the yellow card?
I don't know. Maybe it's Santiago for coming out too long. I mean, if that's the case, so be it. Whatever, not going to matter. But I don't know. But yeah, Izzy's coming in. Izzy's fresh legs. Ferran Soriano, they got to highlight CEO of City Football Group. Yeah, I think I met him at that Chinatown event. 80th minute and still counting at this point. 1-0 right now. Shots are 10-8 and 5-1. Over the middle. Sean's going to come in deep. He's going to grab it. Be safe here. He holds it, and now at this point, now you really start to burn this clock as much as you milk the shit out of this clock. You can start to watch Sean go a little slower when he has that ball.
Yeah, you try to go four corners here and kill the clock.
Yeah, I mean, New York has maintained good pressure, but at this point, as I say, Portland is doing. I'm a little surprised Portland hasn't substituted more players at this point to get fresh legs on the field.
I forget, is it 3 subs or 4 that each team has?
3.
3. Okay.
But I think they've had 1 sub so far, and I know that pitch has been bad. I know a lot of players, especially on the New York side, have struggled with the rain and everything, and it does look like the rain may have diminished a little bit. But when I had a feeling that this was going to be a low-scoring affair because of that rain.
Yeah, especially on artificial turf, especially in cold and rainy weather like you have in Portland right now. The turf like that becomes a slip and slide. I'm honestly surprised. Yeah. I imagine because of how much a lot of teams don't
kick in the middle, and Sean Johnson with the save again. Not really badly tested though, but Sean is definitely being pressured much more than he was before.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that they have a turf field in Portland and not grass.
But, yeah,
But
good free kick
what are
over
you
the middle.
what are you going to get
Great
with grass this time of year? It wouldn't be much. It would basically just be mud.
Yeah, great free kick over the middle. Actually, got it all the way to Sean. Yeah. Portland maintaining with the slide. And meaning to manage to hold on to it right across midfield. Okay, folks. So we're at the 82nd, now pushing 83rd minute at this point. New York City is up by 1. And 8 minutes plus bonus time from their first final ever. Like I've mentioned it before, Cinderella team. I remember one of the biggest keys to this, and I mentioned the Guditsch Aronson's goal late against Atlanta to finally break the scoring streak. But
I wonder what the odds were like at the beginning of the season if you dropped a few bucks on NYCFC to win MLS Cup at the beginning of the season. I can only imagine how much.
25 to 1.
Nice
25 to 1, I guess.
I think 25 to 1. That's not as bad much as I thought.
That's what I'm thinking, because they did make the playoffs the previous year, lost in a heartbreak.
I thought it was more like 50 or 75 to 1.
It could be. But I don't think I think they were the bona fide underdogs, because again, they never got past the first round. They only did that ever once. But what's interesting to me on this is that watching this team for this past year, you kind of feel for them a little bit. And you, like I said, you get to know. And there was something I was going to say, and I completely forgot what the hell it was. So whatever.
What's the call here?
So
let's see.
But that ref is losing. That ref is fouling everybody, or calling fouls on everybody right now.
Yeah, it's starting to get a little chippy.
Yeah, it is. Nizgoda's
one more
coming
sub
in.
for Portland. We have Nizgoda coming in.
Yeah. So, and out comes Asparulla. Well, Asparulla, boy, he's been all over the place today too, and
yeah,
a good portion of fouls at this point and free kicks have come from him.
Yeah,
but I remember, like I said, everything with this team following it from the beginning of the year. That was a 5-0 win. They crushed that opening game. And here we are 8 months. It just which shocks me also, 8 months after that. And New York, and the kick is going to go out of bounds. Portland's pushing hard. They're in panic mode, pure panic mode right now. More kicks it out of bounds, and I think it's going to be a goal kick. I think maybe it's a corner.
Corner kick, I believe.
Something. Yeah, it's corner. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Char is about.
As soon as I said goal kick, I realized I was wrong. But Char
here we go.
Corner and header out, so it gives a little more room. Kick in deep, blocked again. And
can't quite clear it yet.
Yeah. Damn. Like I said, 8 months ago, I was at that first game in the press box there and got to know everybody. Lupo.
Nice move by Van Rankin there.
Yeah. So, right now, New York is playing tight on defense. No shot is really getting through. That's why that free kick actually getting all the way to Sean Johnson was a big deal. Because most shots have not been that far, and they really haven't tested it much. They're playing a little more defensively right now, and I get it. But because one of the problems New York has is when they play defensive too long, that they invariably give up the goal. And that was a great chip away by Tavon Gray, taking it all the way past midfield and now all the way back down to Steve Clark. 86th minute at this point, by the way, if you're checking in. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know your ideas at this point. This has been a good one. I've seen the numbers today as far as what this live stream has been, and frankly, it's been pretty impressive. I'm happy with the numbers on this one, and I had a feeling it might be decent. But let me know in the comments what you're aiming for, what your goal with this, and if there's going to, if New York can hold on, there will probably be some kind of victory celebration. Guess who's going to get his ass over there for this? Guess who's probably going to go to this thing, man? Oh, that's going to be a cool event, man. I'm fired up. So,
yeah, I don't know if you still have audio from me, but my face.
I do. I just got the comment there.
My face is apparently frozen, or at least it is on my screen.
Your face, you know what it is? Your face is frozen because you're in unbridled shock that this team actually is able to be in the finals.
Yes, that is.
Portland. You're just. But oh my God, look at that rain though. But a lot of New York fans came out for this, and I knew a lot of them were booking flights. And I'm
impressed for the amount of fan presence that they have out there.
Yeah,
good job.
As soon as they beat Philadelphia, I saw on Reddit immediately they were all about, I can't believe the flights are this expensive. It's like, well, dude, it's a week away from freaking Portland. What do you expect?
Portland isn't exactly a hotbed for direct flights. So,
No.
like, you might be able to get a flight to Seattle and then hop over to Portland.
No, I think you can probably get it direct to Portland, but it might be like when I flew to Memphis a couple of years ago, where like the terminal shuts down, all terminals except one after 7 p.m. Because with Memphis, you had 3 terminals, and after 7 o'clock at night, they closed 2 of them because they don't get any traffic.
Yeah, well, for me, I remember one of the things I noticed when I flew to Nashville a few years ago is that it's always weird, especially if you grow up in the Northeast, with the huge airports, the 3 New York airports, Philly, what have you, wherever you're flying out of, with multiple terminals, terminal 1, 2, 3, ABC, whatever. But the Nashville airport, it was just terminal. There's only one because it's a small enough airport.
That was pretty much. That was almost what Memphis was. All right, ball goes in deep. Sean Johnson drove it all the way down, staying at midfield, 88 minutes. Kick by Medina that keeps the ball in Portland territory, right out just near the box. 18-yard box, back to midfield. Portland's trying to drive across, trying to dig deep. They can't get in well. One of New York's biggest benefits, and I've saw this a few times today, is they were able to get the ball over to Tavon Gray. Tyler Magno, we have not seen today. Medina has been solid. I was like, Tati obviously is solid, we'd expect. But Tyler, I kind of almost want to see Tyler on the field for this. He's an 18-year-old kid. I get he's young, but I kind of want to see him on the field for this. But it's probably not going to happen at this point. I don't blame them in the least if they don't put him in. But bad header there. Portland's able to maintain control. Pass over the middle. And Tavon with another header. The ball's going to go out of bounds, but at least it's a corner kick. He realizes his mistake, but it gets New York to be reorganized. Closing in on 89 minutes. Tavon Gray has had a good game today. And a little short corner right now, heading over the middle. That header is going to be stopped. Get out of the zone. James Sands is fighting, and both of them drop. No call on that. Continuing. Let's see. Morales takes it all the way down, and we have a possible breakaway as Medina takes it. Nope, and he's going to drop it, but it burns more time off the clock, and that's the big thing.
Right. I'm going to try refreshing my screen, see if I can unfreeze my face.
You got it. I like the face, though.
So I made it.
So Izzy with the ball, passes it across to Tavon. Tavon can't do it. Izzy stays down. And boop. There we go.
All right, there we are. No.
All right, cool. So
I got a picture of what I just thought of. That was a memeable face I had stuck up there for a while.
All right. So now 89 minutes, 32 seconds. We're going to get bonus time at this point. Any second now. What it's going to be, we don't know.
I'm thinking 4 minutes.
Yeah, could be. And also, I was going to say, New York has the free kick, too. You try to make it 2-0 to ice this thing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you have a free kick coming up.
They didn't. They're just trying to maintain control and burn clock. But
all right. How many we got?
Yeah, 89, 90 minutes, and still keeping it deep. Play continues, even though
Four.
Tati dropped.
Yep. We got 4 coming.
Plus 4 minutes. Kick deep, but a very easy save by Clark there. I think that ball was going to miss anyway. So, all right. Plus 4 minutes. Clark drives it deep past midfield. And another stop. And then Della yellow card. Was that on Chanel? Or was that?
It was on number 7.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. That was Alexander Callens. Okay. All right. 3 minutes left here. We're looking at driving in deep header. Izzy will get the ball, drives it back to midfield, and drives it all the way down. Yeah, Steve Clark comes all the way out, almost to the circle to be able to recover that. Another drive in deep. Another header.
Yeah.
And so, yep, nice little chip out by
NYC's chipping it as far out as they can to try and kill the clock.
Dude, the clock is your greatest friend right now because you got 3 minutes left. They're bringing in Malty Amundsen. Yeah, I was going to say there's some fresh legs and a shaking ass. That's a great, 132 countries just to watch Malty Amundsen shaking his ass on TV. Nice.
Just like you always get that crowd shot of somebody right when they're picking their nose or
Exactly. Yeah.
scratching themselves or whatever. Especially
Dude,
baseball or football, you get it. They pan over the player right as they're scratching themselves.
there was a Pumas game against Mexico a bunch of months ago, and the game had a 3-hour delay because of the rain as New York goes across the field and out of play with a throw in for New York. And game started 3 hours late, and the camera kept panning over to these two people that by 10:30 at night were asleep. And every time it came over to them 4 or 5 times, and they're just like, and it was so much fun. Everybody freaking loved it. One of them finally woke up to huge applause. But all right, 92-12. Out of bounds again. Oh, boy. So, can they do it? Can they pull off the impossible? I did predict that I thought Portland was going to win this game, too.
I thought Portland, with their experience in playing at home, was going to win this, but NYC has played a hell of a game here.
Yeah, those fans are just.
Well, that guy looks like he might be ready to pass out with his beer there.
Dude, those fans are in shock because this is not how you expected this to go. And maybe just the bad weather conditions had something to do with it, but we're approaching 93 minutes and change.
They'd be used to this, though.
Whoop. Yeah, Chanot dropped. So Portland now has a shot, but if they can maintain control, and they do. And kicks out of bounds, and that's going to be a corner kick as it bounced off Medina. Clark's coming right up front. Bring them all in.
Why not? Got the extra attacker, which I didn't know soccer had a rule for that, like hockey did.
Mm-hmm. And header out. That's a huge header right there. Yep, there's Clark. They're just bringing him in to say screw it. What do you got to lose? That ball. Oh, that's huge.
Oh, he's coming and joining the scrum. I see.
Yeah, that if I was going to say if that ball had been stayed in bounds, that probably could have ended it because they would all have to track down and get that ball again.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that comes an extra attacker if you want to bring the goalie up. So there's the kick and another block, another save. Oh my God!
Oh!
Portland with the equalizer with seconds remaining.
Wow!
Holy! I told you. Did I not tell you this earlier? That when New York spends too much time on defense, they lose the lead. You remember I said this, right?
Yeah, you did.
And
wow. 10 seconds left.
So that's gonna force overtime right now. It's funny because on this side of the fence, I'm always sitting there asking myself in my head, what questions do I ask in the post game? Now at this point, it's going to be about obviously that goal, how the team reacted, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Tavon Gray is in shock right there on camera. He's
Ooh, that is.
I felt it right there. It just felt like it was cracking.
I had a feeling too right before that, like this scrum in front of the net, they're not doing this. I got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, the first kick was blocked, and that was it hit. I was going to say hit. I think was it Callens? No. But yeah, and then eventually it was just that perseverance. Yeah, Sean Johnson had no chance on that whatsoever. That ball was too. That is the highlight reel, Quentin, not the Tati goal.
Yes, this is on all the highlight shows, and
but this is going to force overtime. All right. Chanot's livid about something. I'm not sure. They're all livid about something.
NYCFC players surround one of the officials.
My wife just saying sorry.
Is the subject of ire and anger from NYCFC, but what we know for certain is that Portland have rescued themselves, and we have another half hour to look forward to.
I can't tell what they're yelling about. What is Chanot? Chanot is losing his mind. I can't tell.
Absolutely. Let's see. What is Chanot?
And we are bringing on overtime.
Yep. Yeah, he thought he got fouled on that. He still had mud on his face from face planting.
He still had mud on his face from face planting. He still had mud on his face from face planting. He still had mud on his face from face planting. He still had mud on his face from face planting. He still had mud on his face from face planting. He still had mud on his face from face planting. He still had mud on his face from face planting. He still had mud on his face from face planting. He still had mud on his face from face planting. He still had mud on his face from face planting. He still had mud on his face from face planting. He still had mud on his face from face planting. He still had mud on his face from face planting. He still had mud on his face from face planting. He still had mud on his face from face planting. He still had mud on his face from face planting. He still had mud on his face from face planting. He still had mud on his face from face planting. He still had mud on his face from face planting. He still had mud on his face from face planting. He still had mud on his face from face planting. He still had mud on his face from face planting. He still had
Well, if you are MLS in business, this is exactly what you want.
Oh, yes.
You know. So
I prefer seeing games decided in the actual overtime, versus penalty kicks.
Yeah, well, I mean, like the way, like I said, scoring has been in this case here, both are entirely possible. I mean, who knows what this is going to play out, but personally, I didn't expect it to end. I didn't expect it to actually have to go into overtime. She's like, I can't handle this. She's a hardcore fan of New York than I am. It's funny. We actually got in trouble because it was a huge come from behind goal. The weird thing is the Spanish radio broadcast for NYCFC is literally next to us, and not like with the divider, just physically next to us. And it was really funny about it is both of us were covering the game, and she had a reaction to the goal and everything like this. And it was loud enough that the play-by-play guy, Roberto Abramowitz, a really good guy, he looked at us and glared at us, and he's just like, because apparently that response from us got picked up on the radio broadcast.
Yeah, if you're close enough.
20, not even 20 feet. You know, I had to actually cross behind them if I want to actually go up the stairs and out. So, yeah, this is all right. Well, congratulations, by the way, also to ABC. They finally have some commercials again. Good time for them. I'm going to take this time. I'm going to pop out because I've had water and I've had no chances to step out.
All righty.
So I'll be right back.
Yeah, so we are sitting in the commercial break waiting for overtime to start. Portland with the equalizer with a few seconds left before NYCFC was about to clinch the championship. So now they've tied it at 1, and we are going into overtime here. Yeah, so then we have 30 minutes of overtime coming, 15 minutes aside, and then we go to penalty kicks if this is not settled in the next 30 minutes. Huge comeback for Portland. Woke up that crowd that was just sitting there in absolute shock of losing a championship match at home, and now they're right back in this. Let's see if NYCFC can hold their own, or if that just let all of the air out of their momentum. We will see where this goes. And we are Streampunk Sports on Twitch, Instagram, and Facebook. Streampunk Sport with no S on Twitter. I think I had those right. Right, Scott?
You did. Hello again. Long time no see. God, I needed that too. Because like I said, you do 2 hours straight and you drink nothing but water the whole way through.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and unexpected overtime is basically we were now back underway. Oh, well, like I said, if you're MLS from a business standpoint, this is exactly what you want. You know, overtime in the finals. Holy shit. Portland, they're breaking down the roll. Yeah, no golden goal, 2 15-minute halves, if still tied, then penalty kicks, which I watched that against New England. I had to cover that game against New England. And that upset that was, my God.
But do you have an opinion of golden goal versus a full overtime?
I prefer golden goal myself. My personal opinion. I prefer that one goal ends everything. One goal to win it all, one goal to to finish it. In this case, it's just basically just another almost half. So I feel it loses a little bit of magic. But also, I think for U.S. fans in general, they're used to a golden goal setup where it's, goal ends, and it's not like, oh, it's continued. Even when Philadelphia had that one goal late against the New York Red Bulls, where it was 113 minutes in when they finally scored the first goal of the game. Yeah, the game kept going, and I think a lot of non-soccer fans were like, so it's not over yet? I mean, it was over 2 minutes later. It didn't matter, but but yeah, right now Portland, they're trying to drive deep.
Yeah. And then
James Sands, try to header and just drop like a rock.
Yeah. And we have, between golden goal and other sports and what I call the family feud overtime rules in the NFL. Where if you get the number one answer, the touchdown, that ends it. Otherwise the other team has a chance to steal.
I don't hate that in football, but. But right now, I mean, obviously, there's a ton of momentum right now. If you're Portland, because you got that late goal, they're driving deep, chip shot over the middle, but they're not going to be able to get to it.
Portland has some new life here, and they've been in the New York zone since the start of overtime. They are putting the pressure on.
Exactly. So maybe it was a couple of those late substitutions. The shot is deep, but it's an easy save for Sean. Shot on target again. But remember what I mentioned earlier. Their shots on target were very, very low their shots in general were very low for a long period of time. And now the shots are 14-11 as of this anyway. I think it's later than that. Actually, this is weird. It says 92 minutes. Okay, that's right. Yeah, never mind. The shots are in favor of Portland at this point. So we got another half hour of soccer ahead of us here. Got 50. Yeah, now it's 15-11, and the shots on target, which were initially for Portland until minute 70, 75, never had a single shot on target. Now I've had 3 and the equalizer goal, literally seconds remaining. I give credit to Ronnie and all the coaching staff and everybody on New York, as that's an easy save there for Clark. They played hard. They're a good team. That's, by the way, that's Ronnie Dyla's basically, go-to quote right there. They play hard and they're a good team, but they never sat back too much, and they're recovering well, I think, overall here. But they're trying to just recover from the shock. This is a young team.
Yeah. Oh, they're now discussing the non-call on the foul.
The Chanel.
Yeah.
Is that what we're going to call it going forward? The Chanel. Mm-hmm. But Portland's driving in deep again. New York recovers quickly. Morales over to Tavon Gray, who takes it back to goalie Sean Johnson, who takes it down, kick deep down past midfield. Totti tries with the header and fails. He drops. Portland's going to be able to maintain control of this at this point. Oh, boy.
Portland settling back in their own zone to set this up.
Yeah. If New York loses, by God, they have so many questions. You are literally seconds away from a championship right there. But this is where they're stronger, when they don't play on their heels as much and they don't play defensively. Passes over the ball over the side, and eventually will go out of bounds, and finally does. Very slow moving process there. Okay. Another sub happening. Oh yeah, they're bringing out Medina and putting in Tyler's Magno. I told you, I was hoping he'd come in. Not exactly the situation is why I'd hope, but the 18-year-old
Magno's a spark plug off the bench.
He's an 18-year-old kid. He had the game-winning goal last week against Philadelphia, and here he is in his first season after New York paid a bunch of money to bring him in, and he's in his first final. And you know what? Like I said, I'm happy for that kid. He's excited. He's fun. It's every single press conference that we have with him has to be translated because his English is not really up to par for that. But even when he's trying to understand, you can tell he's so excited to be there. He's like, I have no idea what's being said to me right now, but by God, I love it. All right, the Portland fans are definitely in it right now. I got to wonder, if this game was in New York City, how would the attendance be? I can't imagine it would be sold out.
Not very good.
Yeah. Right now, you could say that this in Portland is sold out or probably close to it. I don't know. The game against Atlanta, I think they had 21,000. I think, if I remember right, that was the last game that we had over there. And then they went on the road for the rest of the playoff games. But I don't know, 21,000. I think
50% capacity, if that. Of
Yankee Stadium's like 54, but still, I think.
I thought it was like 40.
You know what? Maybe I'm wrong on that.
The old stadium, I think, was around 55, but
let's see, Yankee Stadium capacity. Thank you for listening to what I had to say. 54,251. Okay. So it was 54,000. So, like I said, when they played Atlanta, if I remember right, it was like 21,000 and some change, which is good for a New York City playoff match. Clark takes it back out.
It is just in a stadium like Yankee Stadium, it looks empty.
Yeah.
Because the stadium is so big. Seton Hall playing in the Meadowlands had the same problem. You could have 8,000 people there and they're into it, but in a stadium that holds 20,000 with no curtain and high ceilings, it looks empty.
I mean, here's the thing with the Revolution, they play at in Foxborough where the Patriots play, and it has that feel of it. In Philadelphia with the Union, I think you've been down there. That place was freaking rocking last week.
Yeah, but it's a soccer specific stadium. The football stadiums are good if you have enough fans to fill it, like you do in Seattle and Atlanta.
Yeah, Red Bull is an example if they had the fans, but I covered New York City games there where they had 3,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
It looked empty as crap. They started loading up sections with advertising just to be able to make it look more full, because you don't want to have just one person for every 5 spaces. But again, back to the whole stadium thing, and whether or not New York actually plays at Citi Field next year, which is possible for a second location. I'm hearing rumors of that, and I think from a ticket sales standpoint, they have to. 7 Train's a hell of a lot easier for New Yorkers.
Yeah. I mean, if their stadium is people, if their fan base is mostly people within the 5 boroughs, or with access to
the bridge and tunnel type,
then you have to keep it at because even though you can easily get to Harrison on the path, it's still a lot for some fans.
Yeah. And also part of the problem with Harrison is that people in New York don't know New Jersey. I talked to somebody the other day. He's like, I took the PATH train for the first time ever. Header basically in, out of the zone.
For people that live in New York City, if you tell them to take a train, whether New Jersey Transit or PATH or whatever, to come over to New Jersey, they'll look at you like you just asked them to go over to Nebraska. You
just asked them basically, do I have permission to kick you in the nuts? No, it's I got trashed yesterday by somebody. It's like I got because I have a Jersey driver's license. I had to hand it off or something. I had to get it back later, and they're like, "Oh, a Jersey license," and I'm like, "Oh, this is how we're gonna go with it." Free kick over the middle, and the kick is up and out of bounds and into the stands. So, all right, so we are, by the way, a little more than halfway through the first overtime. So we're 9 minutes in out of 15. This has been predominantly in New York zone. Yeah, that couldn't get the ball in that, but Portland is absolutely driving, absolutely pushing.
Portland with new life. It's woke the stadium up. So they are turning on the pressure.
Absolutely. It's kind of like in some ways when last week when Philadelphia scored first and that crowd was rocking, New York scored about 2 minutes later, literally about 2 minutes later.
If they had held the lead for any amount of time more than the 2 minutes than they did, I think that Philly would have won that.
Absolutely.
Where even if the equalizer had come later, there still would have been enough energy in the stadium. But just for it to happen, bang, bang, and then go down and score the other end in less than 2 minutes, that was demoralizing.
Yeah. And, well, I mean, here's my take on this. Both teams were depleted, but with Totti being out due to suspension and the injuries that happened to Tinnerholm and to Keaton Parks, if COVID did not hit Philadelphia would have won that game probably 3-1. Easy. Yes. But New York played on the road with a depleted roster against a more depleted roster. And Tyler Magno had the win last week. Portland's driving again. Good pass across now inside the 18. Yeah, trying to get away. There's your kick right there, and up and into the stands. Another shot on goal. Boy, New York is really playing on their heels. I don't think they know how to process this right now. They controlled so much of the action for such a long period of time, but they have not had a shot on goal, I don't think, in probably 20 or 25 minutes now. It's another goal kick by New York. We're at 101 minutes at this point. Again, if you are a soccer fan around the world, this is basically what you want from a final. But right now, 1-1, 102nd minute of the game at this point. Portland in, driving deep once again. And a good stop. And again, New York has to clear the zone past midfield.
NYC has not been able to get the ball out of their zone very much in the overtime so far.
And also part of it is because they can't do that. They can't get the ball to Totti. Both teams are running a 4-2-3-1 environment. But with Totti all the way up there, if they can't get the ball out of the zone, they can't get him there to do his job. Morales takes it, stays in bounds, but it's still Portland's ball. 102 minutes, almost going to the 103rd minute at this point. All right, turnover. Callens takes it. Still trying to find a break in the shot here. Drive deep to Tyler, who was able to clear past midfield, but in the process turns the ball over. And all the way back to Clark, who just takes it and just very simply just nudges it forward. I think if New York can get out of this half without a goal being scored, I think you'll take what you can get.
Yeah,
just if they can get a little bit.
If they can get to the 15 mark and switch, I think that will give them a minute to breathe and they can refocus.
But we haven't seen Abear yet today, which is also, Abear has been recovering for a while. He's not 100%.
I think each team has one sub left, right?
Yeah, I believe they do. But, Abear has been a lot of the way the heart and soul of this team, too, and he's missed a lot of action, and includes, in this case, the final. I think a little bit about former captain Alex Ring, too, because now he's over with Austin, and he's probably watching this right now and watching his old team and his old teammates in the finals at this point. But on the 104th minute, shots are 16-11. New York leads shots on target 6-3. But the big difference maker, and if you guys remember, I said this earlier in the show, time of possession for New York was hovering in the 60s for a while. Now it's 51-49. Portland has been able to control the possession better. The passes have been better. The pass accuracy is now even where it never was previously. 2 offsides, 2 yellow cards, to 3 in this case. A lot of yellow cards happening. That's a concern also.
Yeah, another scrum in front of the goal, and NYC clears.
Tyler stops. Tyler is looking. Yeah, okay, they're getting a free kick out of it. But
all right, we're at the 104th minute.
Yeah, we're almost done with the third quarter, if you will.
Yeah.
And Ronnie looks
the first overtime, if you will.
Yeah, and Ronnie looks like Ronnie does, just with that really just very intense, can crap out a diamond if he has to moment right there, which is why it was so weird when I was at that ribbon cutting, because it was a run. All right, cool, half naked drunk overweight guys, yay!
It's Portland.
it's fans in general, half naked. I'm warm because I'm drunk thing, but it was nice seeing Ronnie just as a very chill, average, run-of-the-mill guy, just asking questions. But it was a different persona with the guy. Happy, outgoing. It wasn't completely all business, and I like that. All right, Tavon taking it deep, passes it over to Tyler. Passing deep to, and that's the end of the third quarter? Nope, that's not yet. No, we got another free kick going on,
and they are now whistling for the break in overtime to switch.
Kind of reminds me of that line from Waterboy. It's like last game of the year. Can't believe anything back now. Kids, The Waterboy was a movie with Adam Sandler from back in the 1980s or 1990s. Many of you were not actually born at that point, but back then, Adam Sandler did mostly comedy movies playing a stupid character.
And sometimes the movies were good.
Listen. Waterboy has a warm spot on my heart. It always has.
No, Waterboy was one of the good ones. It was
Happy Gilmore too, but even
Happy Gilmore. I liked Wedding Singer personally. I know that's hot or cold. Yeah, like it was.
I've cooled off on it over the years.
Yeah, Wedding Singer and Waterboy were the last solid ones.
I don't know. I always felt good about Big Daddy though.
I liked Big Daddy.
I felt it was cool, and also because it's weird because you see Jon Stewart as an actor, you never see that anymore.
Yeah, because that was when he was trying to act before he got the Daily Show.
Yeah,
and I think The Faculty was another movie that he was in.
I don't remember that one.
As
Airheads, he had
zombie teacher or something in The Faculty.
I remember Little Nicky was meh. Saw that in theaters though.
Yeah, that was very meh.
Yeah. He's actually really nice. He's one of the nicest guys in Hollywood, though. He's such a cool guy.
Sandler?
Yeah, Sandler. Yeah, the NYCFC fans, the local in their little section over there. Oh, we're half naked people, yeah. That's a thin guy, too. He's got to be cold. least if you got like, the gut that I've got and everything like that, you can stay a little warmer. It's like a small animal hugging you to keep you warm.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're thin like that, no. What I am surprised by a little bit, I saw it with New England, but I'm not seeing it today, is there hasn't been as much cramping going on. I was wondering with the cold and the rain if legs were going to start cramping over time, but I haven't seen that yet today. Okay, so we are back for what I'm going to call the fourth quarter of play. Whew. And if we go to a shootout and New York takes it initially on this one too. We were seconds. New York City was literally seconds away from their first ever championship. And now we got another 15 minutes at minimum.
And here we go.
Yeah, Amundsen takes it back. Callens to Sands. Back across to, looks like Gray. And across midfield now, driving deep. Portland with the easy kickback. It's always funny when you look at something like this because the first, for both teams, first game of the season, officially, regular season was in April. So it amazes me how it's been, like I said, 8 months. I'm not talking preseason. I'm talking like regular.
The longest. So the season started in
beginning of
April normally. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got the preseason. You got maybe some games against like Mexico and things like that, which they're expanding that setup next year. I think next year, or year after.
Or is it no? Because I actually, now that I think about it, I think in 2020 they may have started a little later this year because of the COVID break. Still trying to get the calendar right. So because I remember that they did play the MLS regular season had started in 2020 before like I think it was they were about a week into the season when the world shut down.
Yeah. I read about COVID. It was in all the papers.
Yeah.
All right. So basically, we're now into round 4 at this point. New York seems to be a little more in control initially. It looks like maybe they did recenter themselves a little bit during that small little break between the first and second.
I mean, they're not very aggressive yet. Just kind of trying to catch their bearings.
Their passing is a little bit more crisp, I think. They're a little more structured now. Maybe because also that tying goals more in the rearview mirror than it was. I think that's a big part of it. That first overtime was pure shock. Ball's out of bounds, and New York maintains control. Hit on with a deep pass, and the ball goes out of bounds again, and Tajuri Shradi. Nope, hands it back to Thavon, looks like. Yeah, temperature, I believe, is 42 degrees over there right now in Portland. Portland, which got its name because of a coin toss, about 47 degrees warmer. Portland, by the way, as a random fun fact, got its name because the city of Portland, Maine, won a coin toss against Boston, Massachusetts about what to name the city. It came up Portland. It was heads or tails. I forget which one was heads or tails, but supposedly the coin is still in the city square.
I remember reading about that in a book I read when I was younger. Mm-hmm. It was a book that I found. I worked in a library, so I found a bunch of sports. I read probably every sports book in that library.
You autodidactic polymath yourself, yeah. By the way, Tyler's across midfield. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it was a book about the 77 Trailblazers. Mm-hmm. And it started out with the first chapter was about the history of Portland, and it did mention the coin toss of Portland versus Boston. Which,
ironically, if it went the other way, you could conceivably have Boston playing Boston in a lot of sports.
I have a feeling that the city would not have become a major city because of sharing a name with another one.
It could have been hurt. I mean, Portland, Maine is the biggest city in Maine, but it's the biggest city in Maine.
Yeah, exactly. Boston is the main regional hub and one of the biggest cities, if not by population as much, at least culturally in the country. There's also Charleston, West Virginia, and Charleston, South Carolina, and neither one is particularly important.
And Izzy gets flagged on that, and we got another free kicking back underway. Yeah, like my hometown of Waldock, New Jersey, and then of course you have Waldock, Wisconsin. Fun fact. I was in my hometown earlier today too, such as that was. Anyway, so Portland is still maintaining control, but actually a quick turnover right there. Passed over to Morales, who can't clear the zone and get it past midfield. Tavon's got it. Local native to the Bronx, Tavon.
5 minutes into the second overtime, and New York City is in control, but they've mostly been hanging back in their own zone.
Yeah, they can't really break through. Possession is now in favor of Portland versus New York, which again is a big factor there because they play on their heels too much when they're in the lead. That's why I'm thinking, this is that first overtime was not going to be their window to score. It was the second overtime that's going to be it. Because they can, like I said, reorganize themselves a little bit, get over the shock. This is still a very young team overall. As they take it back to Sean, who takes it back to Callens. He's a good kid too. Yeah.
They all look tired.
Oh yeah, but I almost wonder: do you take out? Put in Aber? I would say probably not. You can't take out Tati, but like you said, both teams are almost not going to say they're resigning themselves to penalty to shootout kicks, but New York is driving deep right now. Morales has it. Passes across. All right.
I don't want to say that New York is playing for penalties, but
no,
but they're not. They don't seem to have the intensity up past that very much.
They're not being. I mean, you could, like you said, it could be
not being very aggressive.
I mean, they haven't had a shot, I think, in either one yet. In either
no, they have not.
I'm getting tired. You feel it on my side of it though. So, all right, here's the first shot.
Oh, here we go.
And a good save, but also rebound came out but cleared.
Portland heading right back the other way, and now they have a chance. Oh, here we go.
Here you go. Yep. Shot and good
nice
save. That's a great save by All right, folks. If you ever wanted to watch MLS for the first time in your life, now is the time to do it. So good. Yeah, that was a great pass right there. And good shot and a great save by Johnson. That again, highlight reel.
That is absolutely a highlight reel save.
Yeah, and especially within a slow down mode like that too.
All right.
Okay, so
112 minutes, NYC coming back up over midfield.
Yeah. Do you want to roll with the play-by-play for a bit? It's okay with me.
I can try. I don't have a roster in front of me, so
that's okay.
I don't know.
That guy who kicks it over to that guy over there. It's up to you. If you want me to do it, I can keep rolling. I don't care. But
you can do it.
All right, cool. Yeah, I was gonna say, let me know in the comments. Mm-hmm. So, all right, Alfredo Morales passes and takes it across midfield, passes it across to Malty Amundsen, who probably has the freshest legs of anyone on NYCFC's roster. Tati tries to basically head it, but couldn't do it. But New York maintains control at the midfield mark for Portland. Nope, never mind. Scratch that. And apparently, up in the stands, actually, you can just work out on bicycles very casually at 10 miles an hour, get some cardio.
That's how you know you're in Portland, where you have the Peloton box right near a rooftop bar, apparently across the street.
Well, you got the fans on the roof, kind of like with Wrigley Field. But like I said, Portland is an underappreciated sports town because, I mean, they have this, they got the Ducks and they got the Trailblazers, but they're passion because they're not over inundated. Pass across, that's gonna go out of bounds. Again, here in this New York area, there's so many teams that you lose track of one over another, monopolizing the back pages.
And Portland Portland, the Timbers have been in existence in some form since the NASL in the 70s.
Yeah, for
with the
literal
team,
decades.
where even though the leagues have folded, the team has been in continuous existence, playing in all different leagues, until coming back until working their way back into the MLS about 12 years ago.
Yeah, so to their credit, they've had staying power over there. I don't know if they've been around longer than the Trailblazers the other way around, but all right, pass the cross to Multi Allenson. This is their best shot right here. Shot over the middle, and that ball is going to go out of bounds. That is going to be a corner kick, I believe.
Trailblazers have been around slightly longer. I believe they started in 1968 or 1970. I want to see 1970. Yeah, Seattle, the Sonics started in 67 and Portland and the Blazers started in 70, I believe.
Yeah, Portland Trailblazers 1970. You're right.
We have a goal kick coming up here?
Is that what it is? Oh. God, I gotta stop looking shit up. No, it's a corner kick. I was gonna say kick across, good set up there. Good head. It's a header. It's going to get out, but that's going to go out of play. But now we got about 5 minutes left in the second overtime, and barring something else, we got ourselves, another shootout. New York had the shootout last time around against New England. Alexander Callens with the game winner. This is one of those seasons for New York that a lot of pieces had to fall specifically into place in order to make this whole thing happen. I think there was, like I said, a lot of things just had to happen in specific dumb luck moments, I think, to make that happen. Portland's driving deep, and a moderately difficult save by Sean Johnson there. I think it tricked him a little bit on the way, the angle of that. Giovanni Savarese, as I mentioned, basically known to New York soccer fans as being, I believe, the first player to ever score a goal for the Metro Stars way back in the day. 25 years ago. All right. Good pass across, and there's no. Tylos couldn't be able to clear it over to Multi Amundsen, and back to Clark, who just takes it right out to midfield. All right. Going back to Alexander Callens again, who takes it back to Sean Johnson, who brings it over to probably Tavon. Over to James Sands, also homegrown player from New York State. Called up to the Nationals earlier in the year, too. So he's getting good international exposure when he played the Gold Cup a few months back. Tavon with the easy stop from Steve Clark. And Portland is starting to put their pressure back on again. Portland does not want to seem to want to have this go into a shootout. New York feels a little more content, I think, to be willing to do it down the last 3 minutes. But again, this is where New York makes their mistake because they play on their heels a little bit too much and give up opportunities. And now they're struggling to clear the zone. Morales over to Alfredo Morales. So, Callens up across. Good pass. Good. Almost an opportunity for Tylos there inside the 18. Amundsen sends it back. And Morales over to Callens. And they're still struggling to try and break into the zone at this point. Sands with a good pass across. Opens it up to Alfredo Morales.
It seems like NYC's trying to be a bit more aggressive now, but they just don't have as much energy.
Yeah, but they're doing okay now because they don't say Tavon's had good pass control tonight. Passes it back, but not in that case. Of course, I probably jinxed him. Sends it back to Morales, who has to take it back at midfield. Chanel. Over to other Maxi Morales. Drives it in deep, but an easy header.
They're still keeping it out of their own zone.
Yeah, but that's a big turn. That could be a big turnover right there. Morales over the middle, and nope, nobody for the header. But Tajiri Shradi does have it. Can't maintain control, but they almost had a scoring opportunity there. And there's a stoppage in play.
And they called a foul on Tajiri right there, right in front of the ref.
Yeah.
not getting away with that, tossing him down literally right in front of the ref's face.
But yeah, New York is starting to maintain. Oh yeah, there's a little head-on-head action there too. I meant that said that wrong, but okay, kicks it in deep, and with every passing second, more likely we're going to do a shootout to determine the winner of the MLS. You know what? It's kind of climactic that way. I kind of like it in some ways. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. I like a shootout. I love the passion and the drama. But when I'm in the press box, I am literally the only person of the bunch that actually likes them. Everybody else freaking hates the thing. Tylus over to Malty Amundsen, who's able to maintain control, still try and drive in deep. It turns the ball over. And ball kicks and likely out of play. Nope, stays in bounds. And James Sands takes it. Okay. Tylus is still getting time, but it's a 1-on-3. Gets a decent pass up. But they're running out of time very quickly here. Totti with the flying kick, but just a little too high for the leg. And I believe that may do it. Oh, nope. Another foul. Like I said, folks, shootout is, I love it. Everybody else hates it.
Just pulled up a page of the history of the MLS Cup. This will be the 5th time that the championship is decided by penalties. The first since Seattle beat Toronto in 2016.
Okay. Yeah, and obviously New York had their shootout a few weeks ago against New England. What was nice about that is I was talking to Sean Johnson about that after the game, because him and Matt Turner played together on the Nationals. Sean was the first goalie. Matt Turner was the first goalie for the New England goaltender, and second goalie was Sean Johnson. And they had a really cool moment where the two of them just kibitzed and just hung out for a couple minutes, just chatting it up, sharing a couple laughs, knowing that one of them was going to go home at the end of the night. And I asked him about it. He's like, we just talked about the game and how, far we've come, how this is going to work out, and the polite, good luck, but not too much good luck to you kind of thing going on. But It was a really cool thing where these two guys were on the opposite ends of this shootout, which is going to send one of those teams home. And they were really tight buds. I thought it was a really cool moment.
Yeah, so there have been 4 previous times in which the MLS Cup was decided in penalty kicks after overtime. The first one was 2006, Houston over New England. Then we have 2009, Real Salt Lake over the LA Galaxy. 2013, Sporting Kansas City over Real Salt Lake. And the last time was Seattle over Toronto in 2016.
All right. Steve Clark is looking very, very old and tired right now. But after 120 straight minutes. Yeah. New York has, it's funny, I spent so much time on the NYCFC Reddit page over the course of the last year. And that is of New York extremely passionate fans. There aren't that many of them, but they are a hardcore fan group. And the amount of up and hill emotions that team had all season,
Well, just in general, Reddit's a dangerous place to hang out spend too much time.
What's funny? I end up doing a lot of actual sort of like work, and updates and news pieces and everything like that on Reddit, because I get better response on Reddit than I do on Twitter. With my Twitter, people, I'll get like a like and a retweet, but with Reddit, it's more of an impassioned niche group there. So when they broke the story about COVID, you get a dialogue going, and obviously you get upvotes, which is nice. But I don't know. I feel more relaxed with the NYCFC crowd on Reddit than I do on Twitter. This is for all the marbles here. My God.
There's different levels of toxicity on the different social media sites depending on where you are and what you're talking about.
Philadelphia fans told me to kill myself on Reddit. Because I think I told you. I literally told you. It's like I explained to them why I believe statistically they had a good shot at beating, New York City despite COVID. And they're like, don't give us any hope, you piece of shit. Go fuck yourself. Go get it. And it's like, dude, I'm trying to tell you why your team can win. I'm not telling you basically your team sucks. Okay,
All right.
Tati is leading off.
NYC going first.
Yes.
Would you rather go first or second in the penalty kicks?
I'd rather go second personally.
Yeah.
Because that first goal. I mean, it's my personal take. And I don't know in specific rules if Portland gets the first choice of what they want to do, but I think Tati is the first choice that you want to have in a situation like this. But all right,
here we go. Tati lining up.
Tati's up, and first goal goes to New York. Penalty kick number 1. That's a great shot by him first off the bat. The rules are you get best of 5 or it's a lockdown. So if it's 3-0 and there's no way that the other team can come back, it ends that sort of situation. All right.
I watched the. I believe it was a Union versus Red Bulls penalty kicks earlier in the playoffs.
Listen, I'm going to say this though: the fans when I was at the stadium in Philly were great. They knew I was writing, and Sean Johnson with the rolling save.
Ooh.
Oh, dude! Oh my God! Well, see, New York City needs to win this because again, I will be able to go to the parade. I will be able to get invites. In behind, I will get everything if New York wins this damn thing. And right now they're up 1-0. Sean Johnson with a brilliant one-handed save there. Holy crap. Okay. All right. So right now it's 1-0 after one round of the shootout. I don't know who New York's got coming up. Oh, okay. You got Morales. Is that Maxi Morales or Alfredo Morales? Maxi, but okay. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's Alfredo Morales. And off he goes and little skip step and a stop. He's stopped short at one point. I wonder if that slowed down the kick a little bit. But Clark doing a little bit of a pace around for the fans.
Where would they do a parade? Would they do the full Canyon of Heroes treatment? Or
they're debating what they're going to do. I don't know. I was unsecure. Clark asked the same question. There's been some debate about that. They've been talking about trying to do a parade down Manhattan, but yeah. And there's also been talk at Yankee Stadium, maybe down the streets of the Bronx. We don't know yet. So Sean Johnson with save number 2.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, that is a fired up young man there. And his save percentage in penalty kicks throughout his career were never good until the New England game.
Do they go devil style and just have a party at Yankee Stadium?
Maybe. But oh dude. Oh yeah, you can see the crowd, the New York City crowd right now.
Yeah.
So,
we're fans of the team that won 3 Stanley Cups but didn't have any actual parade. Just
got busted on by New York City reporters too. All right, now if I'm not mistaken, if he's able to hit this shot, that would seal this, I believe. Morales,
here we go,
and that is an easy goal.
Ooh.
Nope, not done yet. Not done yet. Yeah, 2 out of 3 right now. Portland is currently 0 for 2.
Gut check time for Portland.
Dude, yeah, this is it. This is, like I said, this fan base is in shock right now. They had renewed energy when they had, that goal late in the, waning seconds of the second half. But they're back to being shocked again because, well, dude, how can you not be? Whew. All right. Yeah, I'm fucking nervous myself here. All right. The kick is that's a goal. Portland splits it down 2-1.
NYC up 2-1 now after 3 rounds of kicks.
Yeah. Like I said, I have never been to a sports victory parade outside of the one I had in Little League in 6th grade. But that I don't believe is going to match what would happen here.
I tried to go to the second Giants Super Bowl parade, but we got into the city too late, so we couldn't get any closer than a few blocks away. So we just ended up bar hopping through the city and catching the crowds.
Tyler's. And he gets one. And look at he's all business right there too. He's like, all right, yeah, I got it. I did my job. Moving on. So, oh yeah, and it wasn't really that hard of a kick. It was just kind of a chip shot. But
Portland needs this in order to keep this going.
Yeah, this is everything here right now. It's 3-1 in favor of New York after 4 shots. If Portland cannot make this one, this seals it altogether.
This is the game,
And
right
then,
here.
and this is the game right here. And here's the shot, and it's a goal.
And it's in.
Okay, so now if New York City hits this one or Portland misses the next one, this is the ball game, and this is the end of the season. And like I said, this is your highlight reel if you're in New York. You know, the Tati goal on a net, is a good local goal, but not basically badass as far as what's going to happen here.
All right.
Yeah, basically, I will be all right. And they bring in Alexander Callens. As I mentioned earlier, he's the one that had the clinching goal against New England. So this is the kid that basically you'd want to have in a situation like this because he sealed the last one.
All right.
And you can see Sean down there, and here we go. And there it is.
And that's it.
There it is. That, ladies and gentlemen, is your new MLS champion, the New York City Football Club. And Ronnie Dyla, you better strip. And I literally hear my wife upstairs right now. I fucking hear her upstairs. Oh my God. And look at, dude. Oh my God.
First championship for New York since the 2009 World Series.
Dude, okay, Hammerstein Ballroom. That's where the watch party was.
I thought Hammerstein Ballroom closed down.
I guess it's not.
Or no, it was Roseland Ballroom closed down and was knocked over for high-rise condos. Like,
wow.
at a start of the NYCFC crest. And the coach is crying.
Oh, dude, yeah.
He hasn't ripped off his clothes to run around the stadium yet, but he's still crying. But he's tears of joy all around.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, that's it right there. So, and Portland is in shock. All right, now I have to start making phone calls. I got to talk to Esteban and be like, all right, so we're going to be able to actually have, the parade and everything like that. Let me know where you want me to be, because you bet your ass I don't care what I got to do. I don't care what many I got to miss. I don't care what I'm going to do. I will be there in the press box for that shit. Like I said, I've covered this team the entire year. I could be an arrogant schmuck, and as a joke, by the way, I say this for the record, but this team never won a championship until I started covering them. So, but in all seriousness, I want to be there for this damn thing. I got to talk, immediately talk to Esteban. I will make this crap happen, but this right here, first major championship in de Blasio's administration, and NYCFC won. Yeah. And you look at Ronnie's in tears. I love it. Oh my God. Earlier in the season, I don't know if you guys knew this, but they actually had signs up that literally said, "Fire Ronnie." And there were, Tati defended Ronnie, and a lot of the players did, and he saw it and he knew it. He was there. This is how impassioned the fan base is here in this city. There's not that many of them, but they're passionate as hell. And as a result, that's what you're looking at. So my wife is like, did he say something about ripping his shirt off? Still waiting on that. But you know what? Have your moment with the players first and then see what happens there. But,
you then rip his shirt off.
Yeah. And the Portland fans, like I said, are just unbridled shock, half-naked shock right now. But Tati Castellanos with the goal. And as I said earlier in the season, when Tati scored a goal in the regular season, that team was 12-2-3. They took the long way around and a much more dramatic win than they wanted to have here. But 1-1 with the shootout. You know what? A championship is a championship is a championship. And that is something that this team can carry forever. And New York Yankees, if you're watching, you might want to consider basically, getting some money to this team to maybe, for fucking starters, get your games broadcast on the Yes Network. This is one thing I want to point out. When I was covering this game, when the Yankees were playing on the Yes Network, the only way to watch this was on the app, which was subject to blackout restrictions in areas of Queens and also Manhattan. So fans of this team in the city couldn't watch it because the app wouldn't work there due to blackout rules.
all of the sports leagues, especially MLS, really need to rethink the blackout policies, because you're just making it harder to consume your own product and get more customers. In the age of streaming, why would you have blackouts if the game isn't available anywhere else?
Exactly. It's brutal that way, and what's disappointing about it is you have a team. Let's see. Yeah, he's from Jersey. He's part of the third rail group. You have a team right now that has just won a championship for the first time in New York City for years. And I mean, the first time that a team has won a championship in New York since 2009. That's a 12-year run there. What is New York City and the Yankees going to do now to be able to give this team more publicity, more recognition, and more cred? Because again, I had to deal with this where I'd have to sit there and I'd have to watch the game on my phone, or try and figure out a way to plug it into my TV.
I did read an article in The Athletic earlier this week that MLS had instructed all of the clubs to let their local broadcast deals lapse after the 2022 season. They've been telling them that for several years, not to extend it past that, presumably because they want to try and bundle everything together, to bundle all the rights together to sell to get a full national broadcast deal with one of the networks, or maybe one of the streamers. Amazon Prime could be a player in that, ESPN Plus. It'll be interesting to see what they do with the media coverage going forward.
Sure. But obviously this is huge coverage. And again, the first time the New York City area has had a championship in 12 years. So right there, that's a huge, like I said, that's monstrous. And it's a Cinderella team. They going into that last game could have landed as high as second or as low as seventh in the playoffs. But they landed at fourth, and it had to require a come from behind late goal tie to get the points differential they needed. But we're playing down a man for most of that game. They had a red card early and were down for, I think, like 75 minutes. They were down a player, but still found a way to win despite everything.
And there was a stretch where they didn't score for several weeks in a few games for almost a month.
509 minutes. I remember I had to do every friggin' post game on that. I had to do every pregame presser. I had to do every postgame press conference, and I had to deal with all of that during everything. And it was not a good time, So I remember when Goody Terrenson, I think, was the one that scored the tying goal against Atlanta, and I asked Ronnie Dyla, is this going to be the thing that's going to launch the team to know that you're out of the shutout drought? And his exact words were, quote, "God, I hope so." And from there, they had not lost a game since. And now at this point, they're your 2021 MLS champion. In a dramatic as hell fashion. Give massive credit to Portland. They stayed with it, a late game goal, a lot of pressure on Sean Johnson the later the game got. But in the end, New York City, they won, man. All right. I got to grow. I mean, if you want to hang on, you can, but I got to go. I got to do the post-game press conference, because that's one of the benefits of being able to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think we can wind this down and enjoy. So, go get on the press conference and
talk and be like, so what are we doing, basically? How do we get in on this? So, all right. So for myself and Mr. JD Walker, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. I saw the numbers. I'm happy with the numbers. But there basically are your 2021 MLS champion, NYCFC, the New York City Football Club, about to get the trophy. Sean Johnson basically handshakes all around. And you know what? I'm going to stay through the end of the cup being lifted. I got a minute on this one.
Yeah.
Sean's basically, he's playing it cool. That dude has so much, suave, man. Like I said, he is just a cool dude. And I'd just like to be able to just hang out with the guy and grab a beer. Yes, I'll admit I have like a man crush on the guy. I got to admit, I got a dude crush. I do.
It's fun when you're around these dudes and they're nice and down to earth, because some of them, with any sports team or any team, some of them are nice, some of them not so nice. So when there's more nice people around, it's way.
He's a well-deserved leader of this team. And he keeps the team together and organized, and he's done a great job as, like I said, the captain of this team this season. Like I said, a lot of New York City fans. I know some of the press writers that I work with that couldn't be here today. I asked a bunch of some of them made the trip to Portland for their own companies, and I'm like, I get it. You go do that. Or a lot of them, by the way, will be coming back for ESP or for like the European games later on. We got that. So handing the ball off to Mr. Johnson, who takes it, a quick little talk, and then Ronnie is still in tears back there, man. He's still in shock. So Sean brings it down. He's carrying it out, and he runs it all the way around. I love it. Bringing it around possibly to Ronnie Dyla. I'm not sure yet, but he's doing a lap.
Ronnie in the back crying still?
He was struggling a little bit, yeah. And there it is. He brings it up to the middle, and up they go. And you know what's really weird? A lot of the Portland fans already left. If you look there, a lot of them already left before the trophy was given out.
Yeah, a lot of fans don't want to stick around and watch the other team lift the trophy on their field.
I saw that with Philadelphia last week too, except for the ones that were trolling New York. So, and there they go.
Yeah, this is a hell of a moment. One of the last teams I thought would win a championship in any sport. You know, obviously.
And they're handing it around basically one at a time on this.
Yeah.
Yep. And then down and then up to Tati. Yeah.
This is way more fun than baseball, and I can't. And
it's almost
if the MLB lockout goes badly, it could be next year that soccer overtakes baseball.
Could be. Well, I mean, I did have comments in here when I was on that rant before. They're like, "Oh, there we go. Yes, somebody flipped a bird. I love it." I guess okay. Friggin' A, man. Okay, even in Portland, they're not like New York. But yeah, some people were like, you know what? Maybe with the thing like 8 to 10 years. You know, I had comments that coming up on the board like that because baseball is a slower paced sport. You had commercial breaks at halftime and then overtime. Other than that, no commercial breaks. It was nonstop all the way through. And that's the appeal of the 2021 audience. Ronnie, you haven't taken the shirt off, pal. I'm going to have to ask you about that later. If I can. I mean, like I said, they give priority to the people actually in the attendance first before going over to the Zoom folks. So maybe I can, maybe I can't. But at the victory parade, if I'm able to do that, you bet your ass we're going to be hanging out. So, good job there. So.
Yeah. Go log on to the press conference. Enjoy get in the queue. Enjoy this.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
All right.
Be good, guys. Have a good night. Take care. And thank you for tuning in.